Hello, everyone, and we are live. Yes, your favorite dynamic duo, Batman and Robin, Superman and Crypto. I'm actually running out of duos, but yes, we're back. We're back, everyone. Hello. I took a little sabbatical. I was out of office last week, so yeah, for anybody who was asking, I took a little field trip to DC, our nation's capital, but I have returned with the wisdom, the elixir that Washington D.C. gives us. And I'm back and I've missed the lives and we're with best friend of the channel, Ellie.
Hi, yeah, it's nice to be having a live again where we can share our thoughts and everything. So yeah, it's nice to be here again.
But yes, no, we are back, and today I wanted to talk about. So the title is called School is Back, but I really wanted to talk about transitions. And what I mean by school, I mean university, graduate school, college, middle school, elementary school, kindergarten. Because at least where I'm at in Texas, school starts back up for I guess for K through 12 or like for kindergarten, middle school and high
Yeah,
school.
and just before we went on live, Caleb had to clarify all this for me because for those of us in the UK, obviously we're not back at for the children who are going back to school, they're not at school yet, and I think most universities, from what I remember being at uni, starts like late September, October. So
Wait,
like,
wow, September, October. Okay, it
yeah,
really
for
is different
us,
over there.
it's different. Yeah. So, I guess, this is, as Caleb said as well, like, it's also, I guess, about transitions as well. So,
Hmm.
I will be coming at it from, in terms of school, like, because as I said, like, it's a bit different in the US. So, I'll be bringing the British twist where necessary, but in general, it's, yeah,
Yeah, it's just about
same
transitions,
vibe.
but I
Yeah.
think so at the moment of this recording, I am 26 years old and I've been in school for the last 21 years of my life, or I've been in education. I think saying education is a bit more broad. I've been in the
Mm.
education system for the last 21 years of my life, and education's all I know. Like all I know, fall semester, spring semester, summer break. That's what I've known for the last 21 years. So this is the
Mm.
first time in my life where I'm not going back to some sort of schooling, even though I started registering for classes, but then I realized, wait, I need to start working.
Oh, and how are you able to register for classes?
Oh, Ellie, in the United States, if you just give a university money, they'll take it. You can,
Oh, okay. So like
yeah,
you can do part-time stuff. You can enroll onto part. Oh,
indefinitely. Yeah, you
okay.
can do it. You can do part-time stuff indefinitely until
Oh,
you die. Like you can just do it
okay.
forever.
I guess
Yeah.
that's a good thing in case
Yeah.
you ever wanted to learn something. Yeah, this is actually quite
Yeah.
good. But yeah.
But yeah, so it's weird. Like I have classes registered in my class card. So that's kind of like you do it in the card and then you pay. But I didn't, and I'm actually enrolled for a class. I just haven't paid for it. But this is the
Mhm.
first time though I don't plan on paying. I actually, I'm gonna be insufficient funds. I've run out of money. No, this will be the first time I actually like, yeah, I've done because I'm so used to signing up for classes, but I plan on finding employment. I'm done with my schooling.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what it's about. It's actually in life there are genuine moments where it's like, you know, you kind of just have to accept the shift if that's
Yeah.
what you want to go. I mean, like you said, you could potentially study forever, but if you've actually genuinely decided, no, I want to go into the world of work, I want to start my career, then yeah, I guess we would call it in the UK like cutting the strings, like cutting the
Cutting this.
cord,
Okay.
the
Okay.
umbilical cord. It's like sometimes
Oh,
you just
okay.
have to like get yourself out there, and it is stuff like saying, you know what, you put your extra classes in the cart, but then you're like, no, this will probably put me back in the mindset of studying where you want to be in the mindset of looking for work or working. So yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, because in the United States we say pulling the Band-Aid off.
Oh
Like
yeah, like
ripping the
ripping off the
Band-Aid. Yeah,
band-aid.
ripping off.
Yeah.
So I think for me it's like it's actually so bittersweet because I never envisioned the end. Yeah, especially when I started
Mm.
university. I never like when I was 18 years old, I thought I would finish when I was 22. And then I went for
Mm.
graduate school. I thought I would finish when I was 23. And then
Yeah.
when I finished this degree, it's like I'm 26 now, and it's like, oh no, there is like, yes, I could go back and get another master's degree. I could, but at some point I can't, first of all, financially I can't afford this. But second of all, it's like at some point then life goes on. You can't just stay in the same spot forever.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think the modern world has made it like, actually, I think it's made it harder for us to move into different stages because back in the old days, there was pressure. You didn't really have any choice. It was like, right, you finish school, have to go the other way.
And I think another interesting thing is that actually, I know a lot of people that have purposely added an extra year, added an extra semester because they don't want to work, because they want
Mm.
to wait out the job market. So
Mm.
they rather just spend more time in school. And there's nothing like if you can afford it, and on top of that, you can do, as long as you're in school, you can delay your student loans. So
Yeah,
you could
that's true.
actually,
Yeah.
so it's like there actually is almost an incentive to kind of stay in the same spot
Yeah.
because of.
And that obviously comes from the fact that university is also an industry in and of itself. So like I can see how they actually turn students into profit. Like, okay, like you said, get another degree because you're not going to be forced to pay back your loan, but then you're still paying the university.
Mhm.
So, and in the UK, we have something similar where like, so international students pay way more than like British students. They pay like three times the cost. And it's almost as if like the unis churn out these degrees, which you think, are these degrees really gonna okay, it's always good to have a degree, but it's like, is this setting people up for a good career? Or is this the uni being smart and like, okay, get a degree with us, get a British degree, like, and you pay all this money, but do you actually see the payoff at the end? You know? And that's not our fault. I think that is the system that's come to be.
And I think you brought up a really good point about how what is it called? University is an industry. Like there is
Yeah.
a for they make money off students. So they
Yeah.
kind of have their own incentives to keep you there as long as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a whole industry around it, right? I mean, I'm sure it's the same in America. Like,
Oh yeah, definitely. And international
yeah,
students also pay significantly more too.
yeah. And then you've got the whole like accommodation and, everything around it. And I think we spoke about this on the live. I said it to you before, like a thought I often have. And it's, I often think about this in like the NHS and sectors like that, where it's like, they make money off of people like basically just using their services, but we use those services, or you go to uni with the hope that this will get you a good job at the end of it.
Hmm.
But not necessarily the case anymore. It's like we are the product. We're the product. Or like if you're waiting for therapy, like I told you, like in the UK, you're on a waiting list for a year and a half. All the while, someone is getting paid to do admin for you.
And I think
Someone is there. Yeah.
No, and I think you touch on a great point that as like we have more of a services economy.
Mm.
So whether it be mental health, whether it be university, whether it be even like even just yeah, just even like software, like even just like even like using your phone, like even you using your phone, they actually make a whole lot more money giving you a below average product or a below average service, but then they just keep you have to keep paying and paying and paying
Yeah.
and paying. So you
Yeah.
never go into the next system.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. But it's like, I think when I'm, like he was saying, you've spent most of your life in the education system.
Mhm.
I think I said something to you, which was, right now, obviously, from your perspective, where you're standing, yeah, it's all of your life now, but actually, it won't be the whole of your life when you look back in retrospect.
Yeah.
So, like, how does that make you feel knowing that, like, actually, this was 1/4 of your life, but you've actually got like 3/4 left to see what's out there?
I think it will start to feel like that as I start living it. Because right
Right.
now, it's so like, you know, it's like I feel like it's just like when you just get married or you just start a new job. It's like, okay, it's like, yeah, something's changed, but you need to let time accumulate afterwards.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is interesting to me that, yeah, like most of my life is not going to be spent in school. it's going to be either spent, well, it's going to be spent working and then being retired and doing a mix of both. But
Yeah.
since I'm so used to one thing, I don't have that experience to look back on the other stages.
Yeah, because it sounds to me like education maybe is like it's like a huge reference point for you for everything you've been through. And which makes sense to me. And I'm just like, I guess that's why, like, for you, it feels like a massive transition because it's like going from the only thing you feel like you've known into a world. But I would say to you, like, actually, I feel that like while you've been in education, you've still been doing other things, right? Like
Yeah.
you've still, socializing, working, all that stuff. So it might feel like it's this thing where you're like, oh, I'm going into a different world. But I actually think it's more of like it's not black and white, it's not like, oh,
I get what you're saying.
yeah, yeah. I think if you think about it from a perspective of you're moving through into like wherever your life is taking you, and there's no pressure to like suddenly stop being a student. Like you just, as you said, you kind of unravel into the new experiences.
And a lot of things that people will tell me, oh, Caleb, when you start working, this will change about you. When you start working, that will change about you. And I'm not denying that. Like, I'm not denying that work is going to change it. But I feel like with my experience spending so much time in education, I can't see myself in which I'm not reading a book or I'm not learning something or I'm not independently studying. Not because I'm like this studious person. I have severe ADHD, so I'm not good. I'm not a good student, but I feel like school has been such a part of my life that I think while I'm going to transition and do other things, I feel like the spirit or the soul will like, I think a part of me will always be shaped by the education system because I've spent so much time in it.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it's like with all of us, like you like I'm just thinking of when I finished uni and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like it was it's like when you're so close to it still feels like it shapes a big part of you.
Mm-hmm.
But the more time goes by, I kind of see it now as like it contributed to who I am, but it
Mm-hmm.
isn't it's not the final picture. Because so much happens in life where you're like, actually, that shaped me or that influenced that. And then as you get older, even that can change on top of it. So yeah, I feel like maybe as time goes by, you might look back and say, actually, that was one thing that made up who I am, like out of many other experiences.
And I think it's weird because you also talked about how while I was in university, I did do other things. I did get
Yeah.
a job. I did meet, like, I lived in, like, like, I lived in a Hispanic neighborhood, which I had never, like, I've never done that before. I've never lived in a place where speaking English is actually strange in the United States. So while I
Mm,
was in university, I did have experiences that were completely outside of university, but were still normal adult life.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. So as I said, it was like it's all integrated. It's like yeah, like the baseline was education, but you can still like lean into the other parts of what you were doing. It might make the transition easier, like by just feeling like, okay, like now I still do the same things I like to do. I meet people, but instead of the background being university, now it's going to be like work instead.
And it's interesting to me because I think my view of work is different than the average, or not, what is the average? But I think my view is different than other people my age, where as for me, I view work as like this abstract, like I don't view it like this whole 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, clock in, clock out, as like a lot of society or a lot of people may view it. For me, I view it as just, a means to an end or a way of survival. I don't like because a lot of people, at least in the United States, they talk about their jobs like, oh, it's stressful, oh, it's this, and oh, it like takes up this all time consuming thing, which I'm not denying that it doesn't. But when I view work, I just view it as like something, I just think of it as something that you do, yes, to help like to financially give you security in something, but also it's just also just a stage of some it's just another thing you do. I don't think of it as like this whole like the end all be all because
Yeah.
eventually I'm going to get into my 60s and 70s if I live that long, and then I'm not going to be able to work. Like you're not like it's not something you do permanently.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. I think Western society places a huge for like work is supposed to be part of your identity, which for some people, like it might be. Like, let's say you're someone who's genuinely so into your field of work and it means a lot to you. But for
Yeah,
other people, it really is just a way. I think actually for a lot of people, it's how you put bread on the table. And there's
exactly.
that's why people have hobbies outside of work. You know, that's why they have other things they like to do because, as I said, they go to work, they do a job that they're comfortable in, but then yeah, you go home and you've got your life outside of it. But as I always say to you, you know, like other people's opinions on stuff, like that's just their opinion. Like that's not the fact like of reality. Like whatever
Mm-mm.
they think, that's actually just their opinion, and it doesn't actually shape or change reality in any way.
Exactly. And it is interesting to me because it's like because I've had jobs before. Like I've scooped rice. I've talked about that on this channel. I've flipped burgers and
Mhm.
I've delivered pizzas. And for me, like those were just things I just like those were just things I did. They got me out of the house. I made a little bit of income, but they weren't defining. Like I wouldn't go
Yeah,
to a dinner party and be like, "Oh, this one customer did." No, it would almost be as if it didn't exist because
mhm.
I think for me it's like you said, Ellie, work is it's this like abstract intangible things. Like especially a lot of people like are on Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets or PowerPoint, and they don't like it's not like it was thousands of years ago where the work you did, you saw the immediate impact in your community.
Yeah, yeah. And think about it back then, like work was not really a concept. It was more like I'm surviving. Like I go to my farm because that's how I get food, you know, or I don't know, build buildings because that's the way I get money so I
Yeah,
can feed my family. It was always about survival. And before we actually did build civilizations, there wasn't work. It was you just got up and did what you
yeah,
needed to do. So again, a lot of this comes from a Western mindset of, you know, post-industrial. And again, I always say, you know, the world is changing again.
yeah.
What people defined or identified as 60 years ago, actually things are changing. Like even back then, the workforce was way different to what it is now, you know?
And I was thinking about that too because a lot of people now do freelance. A lot of people
Mm,
now do either DoorDash, Uber Eats, or dog walking.
yeah.
There might be $1 million dog walker out here. Who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah, yeah,
But no,
yeah,
exactly. It's like this idea of like, which was made up from the big get-go. Like, we weren't like historically humans haven't like gone into an office and done this and no, like
yeah.
this is something, yeah, this is a post-industrial view of work.
Yeah, exactly. And like you were saying, you know, another thing I think has really changed the workforce is people no longer work actually for surplus income like they did before. Oh, it's Valentino.
Yes,
Hi,
hello.
Valentino.
Salutation. Oh my God, Salwe. Salutations that comes from the word Salwe,
Hi, Valentino.
but
I
yeah,
haven't seen
Sally,
you in a
yes, it's great to
while.
see you.
Hi. Hi. It's nice to see you again, Valentino. Yeah, because obviously as I haven't been active on my channel for a while. Yeah, I haven't had get to see it because also I'm not active on my channel. Like even my emails, I haven't like that's a separate email source
Oh,
that I
oh, you
usually
haven't
use.
even been checking your emails.
No, no,
Okay.
I kind of wanted to take the time to like mentally kind of just reset my brain and when I'm ready to go back to my channel, then everything else with it comes along.
Oh, I
But yeah, it's
understand.
nice to see you here, Valentino.
No,
Oh
hi,
no,
Ellie.
I'm
Oh my
sorry
gosh,
you're
no,
worried about me. That's why
no,
I really didn't want that to happen. I'm really
she's
sorry.
a-okay. She is a, trust me, she's a-okay. Like actually superb.
Well, you know, if only Valentino, if only you guys saw what my life is like behind the screen and you could sometimes, you know, it's I'm all over the place. Not like I'm ill, but I'm just
No, no, she's not. No,
physically I'm not
yeah,
always,
yeah, yeah,
you know, in one place. So yeah, but it's
yeah.
lovely to see you here. Thank you so much for
No,
joining.
yeah, thank you. But no, no, it's also I think it's also nice, like with what I like about these lives, Ellie, is it's nice that it's not like a normal video where you get live interaction and
Mm.
my channel's super small, so I know like when people come in, I know who's here. Like I
I
know
like that though.
they
It's
yeah, they know me
cozy,
and I know that yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like I'm not like there isn't this expectation, oh my gosh, I'm gonna like blow up on YouTube and this and that. No, it's like
Honestly, for anyone doing YouTube, anyone who goes in with the idea that I'm going to be super successful, that's not the right mentality at all. You should
no,
always be in YouTube for the content you're creating and actually being interested in your content. And then if the views come as a side effect of that, that's great. But yeah, anyone who goes in thinking I'm just going to be famous, like that's anyone will tell you like that's not the right
no,
reason
it's
to be doing it.
and
And
oh my gosh,
yeah,
Valentino, that's really kind that you have Ellie an email just to see how she's doing. And I'm so glad that you're
yeah,
able to enjoy these live streams.
yeah, thank you. And as I said, like because YouTube for me is like one part of what I was doing, and you know, it gets a bit sometimes it just the stuff I'm talking about on YouTube gets like a bit like heavy for me.
Yeah, it
So
is a
it's
bit
like,
intense.
yeah, I'm just like, let me just check out, let me just take some time, and then when I'm ready, I'll come back. But as I said, it was never about trying to make anyone worry or anything. I'm really sorry, like I really didn't
No.
want to do that. But yeah, thank you for checking in anyway. I do appreciate that.
And my thing is, it's like, because when I first started YouTube, I actually like, I was 17 years old. I didn't have any friends in high school, and I thought like the internet could solve my internal problems. I thought
Oh,
views, yeah,
yeah.
no, Valentina, but you're so grateful. Don't, I mean, obviously, if you want a channel, get a channel, but don't come in with it with zero expectations.
It depends as well what you're speaking about. Like there are
Yeah,
some light-hearted topics which where the content is fun to make, but YouTube is YouTube. You're always going to have certain things that you're going to have to deal with, especially depending on how many views you get and stuff. But look, if you've got a topic you feel like talking about and
yeah,
you're good at
yeah,
it, passionate, I say why not? But yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, because for me, and then it's funny, I restarted this channel. I remember I restarted this channel. So a girl I was seeing at the time, I don't know, it was kind, you know how some people like they go through a breakup and they start stand-up comedy or whatever. That was me
Yeah,
with this channel. Like, and I didn't
yeah.
even date this person, but I just started. It's like, you know what? I'm in a low point emotionally. Let me just start uploading videos and see where
I think
things
that's
go.
a good thing to do. Though I think that's actually a good way to start a channel because it's when you like you said when you go through heartbreak and that's pretty tough. Actually, it's very tough. Like
Yeah.
throwing your energy into a channel actually is a great way to divert that agony and stuff. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's actually a good time. Like I
And
think that's a good way.
I want to write books. I'm thinking about writing a memoir and then about a dozen books about various Islamic topics. Okay, okay, no, that's actually I think what is it
It's a good
called?
idea.
No, that
Mm.
actually is a good idea. I don't know if you would self-publish or if you would use a publisher. I don't know anything about writing a book.
I think these days self-publishing is a good option for everyone.
Yeah.
Obviously, with a publisher though, they can
Yeah.
always push it
Because they
out
send
there
you in
more. But
advance. Yeah, that's the thing with the publisher. They
yeah,
give you in advance, but and
yeah,
royalties.
but yeah, these days the good thing is if you've really got good ideas in your mind, you can put them to pen and paper virtually, and you can just put it out there, and no one and like because a publisher might ask you to edit certain things, whatever. But with when you just do it your own, you can just put what you want out there, and you just never know how it's going to land, who's going to see it, and I just think it's always a good idea. Like if you're confident what you're writing about, your content, put it out there and see what happens. The right people will come across it.
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
I thought about releasing some screenplays. And screenplays are different.
Oh,
They're not like books, but you do need like either a production company or you would have to
yeah.
raise the problem is you have to raise the or I do not have the money, but I would have to raise the funding myself or take a loan out. So
Or meet people in the know.
yeah, I mean, and I don't know any actors. Like I don't know
Well,
any
is
actors
it?
and actresses. Yeah.
Yeah. See, this is something I've been kind of finding out recently through my kind of life is that sometimes like you're saying there might be so many obstacles in the way like with your screenplays that you think oh I can't fund this or like and it really is about getting your foot in the door.
Yeah.
Now if you meet people, if you start socializing with certain people, I've noticed people on certain levels of like success in terms of what, not like personal success but like kind of in their field, like they will know someone who can put you in contact with someone
Yeah.
else. And if you impress that person, then you start getting your foot in the door, basically.
Exactly. And that's with a lot of industries. That's with a lot you
Yeah.
just it
Yeah.
because sadly it's like it's about who you know, not what.
Yep. And who you can impress as well.
Mhm.
Who you
Mhm.
can impress, because there's a lot of nepotism involved. So sometimes people will just happily put their family member out there and they will get
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and because they are so and so's daughter, then that's their ticket to the world. And they might not even be talented. They just knew, you know, like they were just born into the right family.
Mhm.
And then yeah, like I was reading something where someone said that they used to work when they were a kid or a teen. They worked at a yacht club, and
Oh wow.
yeah, and through working at a yacht club, just as like someone in the cash as a cashier, like nothing fancy, but he got to know so many people and he made friends with like people who owned a yacht. And he said some of them were like mentors. And from there, that's how he actually built success and wealth, because he just was in the right location. So that's something I've learned recently. It's like if
That's
you
so
can't,
funny.
yeah.
That's like the plot to Great Gatsby. Yeah,
But
he
yeah,
also where he also like yeah, I know it's a fictional story, but yeah, he also
I
like
think
worked
there's a
with some
kernel of truth in it though,
yeah,
right?
there like he worked with somebody with yachts and then he was able
Mm.
to network himself into a higher social class.
Yeah, yeah. And someone also, I think in the same thing I was reading, they were like, it's like someone was saying like they hung around something similar because they wanted to meet a woman whose dad was like, you know, in this industry. And it might sound, people might think, oh, that sounds so shallow, but unfortunately, that is the world that you have to operate in. If you're coming at it from zero, you've got
Yeah.
to sometimes be a bit smart.
Okay, how's your job search going? I've been unemployed for years now, and I've given up, mate. Okay, so my job search is going. It's going. No, I had an interview last week. I'm waiting to hear back from a few companies. But no, I also, it's like I've wanted to give up multiple times, but I think for me, it's like I feel so close. Like it
Yeah,
really,
you're
and
just at the
this,
start as well. Like you've
yeah, I'm
only
just also,
started out.
yeah, so I feel so close. I mean, I've technically been searching for a year now, if I'm being like, if I'm actually being honest. I've been searching
Yeah.
since August of 2025.
Yeah. I think in
But
today's climate though, that's pretty standard, right? A lot of
yeah, it's the
people
new
are,
normal.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's weird. It's like you're a young lad, I'm 40 now. Wow, okay.
Yeah, I agree, Valentina. That's what I'm saying. Caleb's at the beginning. Like you're 26, you know, you're fresh out of
Yeah,
education. Like
yeah.
you have I do think it will happen soon. It's just the world we live in. But
And
yeah.
Valentin, I can't speak to being 40 years old and trying to look for a job, but it's like I feel I don't know. It does feel though like economically, I think worldwide economically, there's things are just there's a slowdown or there isn't like what's being advertised of all this wealth. I think that's only a few concentrated amongst a few small amount of people.
Yep, it is. It is. And they turn people into products, like we were saying earlier.
Yeah, that's what we were talking
Okay?
earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. And Valentina's saying I can't afford rent and certainly can't afford my own home. That's so many, especially in the
No,
UK. But I
exactly.
think that's the reality these
I think this
days.
is the Western world in general, but because I've heard it's
Mhm.
even worse in Australia. I've heard housing's even worse in Australia. I've heard it's terrible in Canada too.
Yeah, I think Australia, from what I've been told, it's like you go to see a house for rent and like 20 people turn up.
Yeah.
Um, so I think in Australia there's a lack of housing, but that's also because of migration. Like that's directly tied to so many people just coming in a short amount of time. In the UK, though, I think our issue is pricing. It's like
Oh
here in
wow.
London, yeah, my apartment in London, it's like the rent is what you would pay in the rest of the UK for like a proper house with like three
Oh,
bedrooms. Like it's
three.
bad.
Oh, it's like a mortgage. So you like what you pay
Oh
in
no,
rent
I'm
is like
talking rent. Rent. Like
oh just
mortgage is
rent.
also a different thing. It's like most people
Yeah.
can't put down a deposit for a mortgage in the UK. They just can't. They just can't make that amount of savings. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, the banks might ask for 20K up front. Like some people just can't. They can't do it. It's completely reasonable. And you know what though, Melantino, I think anyone whose parents let them live with them,
Yeah.
that's a blessing
No, it's
because
such a blessing. Yeah.
honestly, like, and I mean, I know as an adult, like a lot of people say, like, oh, it's the way life used to be was it's like a human right to have your own accommodation, right? Like we shouldn't be feeling like we can't move, we can't do this. But when times are hard, I think, parents who let you live at home and support you, I think that's always a blessing.
No, exactly. Because I'm with my parents right now until I find the next thing. But that's with
Yeah.
my situation. And I've also thought about just, packing up and move to Alaska. Okay, Alaska's a little cold. That's the only thing about Alaska. So I wouldn't go to
Yeah.
Alaska, but I've thought about, yeah, just like, living, joining an Amish community or something, or some kind of,
Why not?
why not?
Why not?
Because, and this is what I think a lot of Gen Z and maybe millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, I think they're looking at this whole like corporate system and they're like saying, wait, there's nothing for us here. Like, we're not really going to make money off of this.
Yeah.
So why even try entering or why even try
Yep.
going?
Yep. That's why people are making money different ways these days. They don't. Uh, Collectively, you're right. Young people are looking at the workforce and saying, "This doesn't even guarantee I can pay my bills at the end of the month.
No,
Like, I'm living to survive. I can't save. I can't get a house. It's not like everyone's getting married anymore. Most people are
no,
probably going to be single. What are we living for? Why enter the system? It's like, screw it. If you want to go live off grid, I say do it, as long as you're safe and secure, and you're close to hospitals and stuff. But like, yeah, like, it's this world was set up for a different generation, a different era, and it's not working anymore.
yeah, and I think it's funny though, Ellie, you were talking about how like the workforce has changed in 60 years. I think,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think everything's changed. I think we're
Mm.
trying to use old assumptions. We're trying to use like post World War II, like 1950s, 60s.
Yeah,
We're trying to use 20th century assumptions for a world that just doesn't exist anymore.
I know, I know. And another thing as well is, part of that, the internet now means that we can actually come together and share our grievances. So before, they could gaslight people with the media and be like, no, everyone's happy. It's just you. Like, you can't afford to move out. That's just your situation. Look at all these people buying their own property. But now they can't do that anymore. It's like we can all come together and say, like, you can't find work, or you can't find your house, or like, all these other problems.
Mm-mm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
the world
exactly.
really has changed in so many ways.
And so it is going to be very interesting. Like, I'm going to be very interested to see, like, yeah, how as work changes, because like I wonder if in the Western world we're going to start to see multi-generational housing or just alternate just see like alternative lifestyles that would not have been either socially acceptable or even thought of, but because of like the time we live in now, it's going to be very interesting to see what creative solutions people come up with.
Yeah, because people always survive, people
Yeah,
always adapt.
exactly.
So yeah, I think we're already starting to see that. Like, I know as well, like, different types of relationships are becoming normalized, because a lot of people don't want to get married anymore, understandably, because you're like, what are the benefits of marriage these days? You have to really sit there and think, right, I could just live with this person, or not even live with them, but still be in a relationship with
Yeah.
them, you know? Um, so
I
yeah.
I've always wondered like as life changes, I wonder what spirituality. It's strange because we're young. We assume like you get a decent education, have a good life. We never imagined that we wouldn't even be able to live and afford basic stuff. Yeah, same thing. Like Valentino, like I always thought making $100,000, or maybe I think that's like 80,000 pounds a year or something. I always thought that was like a good salary, a good like okay, a good wage. But you look at it, and I sound so selfish, but well, it's great to make $100,000 or to make a decent wage. You're just surviving. Like you're
Mm.
just surviving.
Yep. Yep, exactly. And I mean, they told us that because, I guess, back when, I guess, Valentino, you're older than me, but not so much older. But like, being a millennial, it was like, go to uni, get a job, get married, buy a house. They sold us that's the life we were going to go into. But obviously, I think, after the financial crisis of 2008, that changed everything, and the UK has never really recovered from that.
And what I wanted to talk about was it's like as the world changes, I wonder my mind always goes to spirituality. Like
Mm,
I wonder what new beliefs because I went to the chiropractor today and I was saying about how I'm like hoping for something. And it's interesting how she said, "Oh, you're manifesting it," and she just said it like, whereas like when I was younger, I never heard the term manifestation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true actually. Yeah, like the kind of law of attraction and
Yeah,
stuff like that
exactly.
is a part of the culture. Yeah. Because I even hear young people who say words like
Yeah,
manifestation or
manifestation. Yeah,
yeah, or putting it out there into the universe and
yeah,
it'll
the
still come
universe.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
But
And
I think
even
that's a
just like,
good thing though. I think it's a
and
good
even
thing.
like energies. People are like talking about
Oh
energies.
yeah,
That's a
yes.
big one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's good though because I'm like, you know how I feel about the new atheist movement. You
Oh
know
yeah.
my
Oh no.
opinion.
I mean, I have similar
You do,
sentiments about the new atheist movement, where I
yeah.
have no
And I
problem with
wonder.
atheism individually,
I was
but I
about to
do.
say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I was
have
gonna
no
say
problem
I'm
with it
disagreeing with
individually.
you.
Well, I was
Yeah,
just gonna say I have no problem with it individually, but what I disagree with is that, oh, this is like the logical conclusion, and I'm like, this is the only
yeah,
way. That's where I disagree.
yeah, exactly. And I don't know if Valentino is an atheist, so I that's what I was
Yeah,
gonna say. Oh, I'm nothing against atheists
yeah.
individually, but yeah, I feel like the messages that came out of the new atheist movement are responsible for a lot of apathy and depression that skyrocketed in the in our day and age. And I'm glad to see you know some form of spirituality coming back to
Oh yeah.
people. Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm very excited because like Valentino was talking about, like Civil War, World War III, AI irregular singularity. I worry about those things too, but I also like, it's weird, as somebody who's studied computer science, I'm not like an expert in AI or anything, but as somebody who's spent a lot of time with computer systems, I think of this just like a chapter. I don't think of it like the end. I think I don't know why, I can't really generalize human nature, but it's typical, like we always think that our era is the end. People in World War II thought it was the end. People in World War One thought it was the end. People in the American Civil War thought it was the end. People during the Black Plague thought, "Oh my gosh, God is like," and it wasn't. And I think
yeah,
this era is no different.
yeah, absolutely. And also I sometimes ask myself because I used to be worried a lot about stuff like this, and as I've gotten older, I'm like, you know what? Even if these things happen, what's the worst that can happen? I'm not saying I want death and destruction, obviously not, but I'm like, this is humans' fault why a lot of this stuff is happening. It's not like these things are outside of humans' control. Like if there's war, if there's poverty, that's because there's something we're doing, right? And unless humans get our act together and actually start changing the way we deal with stuff, um this is going to keep happening. So it's like we kind of have to take responsibility as humans and be like we the reason there are cataclysms and war is because of people's mentality. I'm not saying like we agree with it. I'm saying our leaders, our structures, like this is why it happens.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I
Also, I
just see
wanted
what
to
Baz has turned
acknowledge Baz. Oh my gosh, keep cool and hydrated the next few days, Ellie and Valentino. It's really hot here again, Caleb. Caleb,
out.
oh man,
Hello, it's
man, I
lovely to
really
see
love.
you, Baz.
Oh man, I've gotten so much love from the UK. I can't even. You guys really are. I think of you guys. I think of all of us as just one. Like it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and it is boiling hot.
It's
I'm sure
boiling hot. Oh
Valentino.
wow.
I
Okay.
think you're from up north, Valentino, right? I think I remember you saying you're like not necessarily up north, but like Birmingham. And I know Baz is from the Midlands, so I'm sure you guys are having heat wave as well. In London, it's
Wow.
terrible.
Oh my gosh, I've never dated as a Muslim, but now even though I'm free to make my own choices, I still haven't tried. I don't think there's any point. I can't really, it really just depends on what works for you.
Yeah, and I would say when it comes to dating, I take the philosophy: put yourself out there.
Yeah,
Put
date
yourself
no,
out there.
I do think dating is exhausting, but
It is.
I think with the right person though, it would feel like it's about finding the right person.
Yeah, and looking in the right places too, because I would say dating apps, it's horrible for everyone. It's just not nice. But if you see a woman you like out there in the real life, in the real world, there's no harm in approaching a woman. Sometimes
Yeah.
they really appreciate it. Like, oh, you approached me, asked me out. Like a lot of women are actually happy to be approached by a nice guy. So I don't
So
think we should ever give up.
I think, Ellie, this is where we have the man-woman perspective.
Okay.
where I agree with you on the surface, but at least from my experience, like talking to women, and I'm not saying I go and approach every woman. That has not been my experience. Typically, women
Okay.
either have like their headphones in or they actually don't want someone to speak to them.
Okay. And this is why I said if you're coming, well, I don't know if I actually said it, but
Yeah,
I think what I mean is if, right, let's say you are talking to a woman
yeah,
and you're building up a nice rapport with her. This is where I sometimes think guys get it wrong.
yeah.
Some guys see a woman they like and just assume that she's gonna like them back. I've seen this over and over with guys.
Okay, okay.
That's where there's like a perception issue, because I know women who see a guy who's nice and they would hope that he come and ask them out. But then I go and see the guys, and the women they're interested in are showing no signs of being interested in them. So I don't know why guys do that sometimes, but it's like I don't know if it's how they've been conditioned, but they seem to think just because they're attracted to women, they have a shot. And unfortunately, that's not how it works.
I will say, though, I wonder because I don't know if I've said this on this channel. Maybe I have, or maybe I've said it on your channel before. But like
Mhm.
Gen Z guys, you just don't approach women. Like you just don't like socially. You don't. It's just something you don't do. Like you
Yeah,
don't.
I think yeah. And actually, when you say that, like, I get that too. I actually get that because it's probably trial and error, right? It's like you try so many times and it
Yeah, you
doesn't
just give
work.
up.
And then there's also been, because of the whole backlash against a lot of old dating norms, I think some
Mm.
guys are a bit worried now and like, I'd rather just not even go there. And I think it's totally valid as well. But I'm just saying, my experience as a woman, and I like how you said, Caleb, like you come from the man's angle. I'm
Yeah, I
coming
come from the
from
man.
the
Yeah, yeah. That's why
yeah,
I'm saying
yeah.
that. So I'm like, oh, I actually get what you're saying, but then I look at my lived experience and my friends' lived experience, because all my friends either met somebody through dating apps, mutual friends, but no, like none of my friends, and I mean male or female, have ever met someone by just purely cold approaching. But
Yeah, because see, I when I was at uni,
mhm,
my first relationship was because the guy came up to me and actually asked me out. So
mhm.
I don't know if that's a generational thing, but
Yeah, that's what's so interesting how things have, even though I'm not that much younger than you, like when you really think
mm,
about it, but yeah, like none of my experiences. So it is interesting, just even though a few years difference, it is interesting how like the culture shifted.
yeah. And I think, but that's the advent of the internet and social media,
Hmm.
because when I was a teen, it wasn't like it is now, or how it would have been when you were a teen.
Yeah.
So, but now, as I say, I do feel like men do something where, like, not all men, but obviously, I sometimes think they approach women who they those women are not going to be interested in them, and
No,
I
I
don't.
agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I think the
So
hard part is reading the signals. Because for me,
yeah,
it's like I definitely in my personal life see women who I'm like very much attracted to, but I always err on the side of caution because I'm just like, I've like it's just really just not worth it. I'm not saying it can't be, but I don't advise people personally to do it. I just say unless you're like at a party or mutual friends or a dating app or I'm not advising a dating app, but unless there's context, I generally just, do my thing.
and I don't blame you, because it's like, but then in a way, it's like if you meet through mutual friends and stuff,
Yeah,
then at least that you can at least ask the woman's friends, is she interested in dating? Is she open to
exactly.
dating? So yeah, yeah, but yeah, I
No,
see
I
how.
wanted to, yeah, Valentina. Okay, so you are an atheist, but not a new atheist. I don't agree with Dawkins. I like older philosophers like Bertrand Russell, Hume, and Nietzsche. Okay, I've been wanting to read Nietzsche and Hume. I don't know about Bertrand Russell. That one I don't know about as much.
Yeah, I mean, I completely get. I always say, like, I understand why people are atheists, and I think, you know what, it's a valid conclusion to come to based on your own life experience. I don't agree with people when they try to claim that atheism is true, and like
Okay.
everyone should be an atheist sort of thing. I think it's, as with all personal beliefs, it's just your personal belief, and yeah, nothing against atheists. Like I said, I just don't think atheism is
Yeah.
the correct conclude. You can't conclusively say that atheism is true. Like
Oh, I
it's
get what you mean. I get what you mean.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with the same thing too. Like I don't know if I ever went through an atheist phase, but I definitely went through a phase where I didn't really believe in anything. And so I maybe atheist may have been included in that belief system, but now like now for me I'm just like no, there are lots of belief systems and I can't like definitively say this one or that one over and atheism's just included. Because whenever I hear people try to disprove God, it sounds like similar arguments to religious arguments to me sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I think, I don't know about you, Valentino, but it's I guess some people are atheists because they just feel like, I don't feel like there is a God, or maybe they've had a bad experience with religion where they're like, I can't imagine a God in a world who would allow wars and all these kind of things. Because I was actually speaking to someone the other day who said they were an atheist, and the reason they said they were an atheist was because they had a very awful experience of religion, and they had seen abuse of people within the church and not be held accountable. And he said, if God's all loving, how could he allow this stuff to happen? And I said, well, I completely get that. Like, that's valid. If that's what put you off religion, then 100% that's a valid reason. But I said, from my perspective, I actually say, well, we don't know the nature of God. Who's, the
Exactly, I agree.
yeah, the benevolent or no, that's the biblical description of God. That's the Abrahamic view of God. But I was like, number one, like, I believe there are higher intelligences who, if you want to call them God, you can, but I don't think they're the God that we think of as humans. I'm like, what if they don't want anything to do with humans? What if they think we're way too destructive and they're waiting for us to get
Exactly.
our act together?
And then what is it called? Oh man, this conversation's going all over the place. But
Well,
okay,
it's
so
not. It's not. I mean, it depends if you want to go with the comments or if you
I
want
want
to
to do a little
respond
bit
to
of
the
both.
comments,
Yeah, no, it's a
fine.
little
If
bit
you
of
want to pull
both.
in from the comments, you can do that. That's absolutely fine.
Oh,
You
thank
know?
you. No, but yeah, but no, because Valentino then said that about I never had the confidence to approach women. I always assumed they wouldn't like me and I just don't want children to stay single. And I would say to that, I would say it's like if that's what you want, then that's okay. But
Yeah.
if you also want the other experience, both are okay. Like both are equally as valid.
It's what
Because
works for
I
you.
Yeah, it's what works for you. Because for me, I would like to be in a romantic relationship, but I'm not like holding my breath. I'm not waiting. I'm not like basing my life off of it. I have other interests in my like whether it be career, spiritual, hobbies, social, and dating is a part of it, but it's not everything for me.
Yeah. And I think that's a healthy mindset. And like you said, Valentino, if it doesn't work for you and you don't want children, and the thing is with kids, if you know you don't want kids, actually that's a really protective mindset to have, because children are not something you can obviously walk away from once you have children. That's a lifelong commitment. So I always think people who know that, what, maybe this isn't for me, I think that's a really healthy way to view it. And staying single, as I said, I personally believe that you never know what's around the corner. I think life does work like this. You might think I'll never meet a woman, but then it happens. And also part of dating is you have to, if you want to meet someone, unfortunately you have to put yourself out there, sort of
Yeah,
thing. Like no one's going to come to us, as lovely as that would be, but it's like part of it is you have to take the risk. And I get it, like, if you look at the risk and say, you know what, I just can't be asked, completely valid. I'm like, yeah, you know what, just check out if it's not for you. But if you ask yourself, like, actually, I do want a relationship, I do want, to connect with someone. I think, it's just one of those things in life. Is you got to put yourself in those situations.
don't worry. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's so funny. I'm 10 minutes behind. No, no, I love responding to comments. It's fun. I think it's because I have ADHD, so like the conversation can go from one to another, but I know not everybody has that. So it's just trying to keep in the using a computer science term, keeping the same thread. Keeping the
Yeah, I was
same
going to say, so like, obviously, it's all down to you. So if you want
Yeah,
to talk about a topic and
yeah.
then pick up on the comments to start a new conversation or a new topic, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, what was I going to say actually?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if you have something in mind and you want to talk about it, I'm happy to talk about it too.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah,
I
bring in
mean,
our
like I said,
comments, fine.
because I think what I like about lives, especially with you, Ellie, or any, well, actually, you've been the only, you're the only one that's actually scheduled a live with me. Everyone else who I've asked, I've got some fake people in my life. But no, what I
Oh
like is,
no. Maybe they're just
no,
busy.
no, they're
Maybe they
actually
don't
they're
feel
just busy.
comfortable. Maybe
Yeah,
they
no,
just
they're
don't
just
feel
busy.
comfortable,
No,
you
yeah, they're
know?
just busy.
Yeah.
But no, what I like about lives with other people is that I have someone to bounce off of.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Like nobody is sitting here with a pen and paper marking this. This is actually just freestyling. So it's like
Yeah, that's what I love. And
there's no
Valentino,
right or
that's the
wrong.
best part. Yeah, no, it's like we can talk. I think what I like also about lives is it's like I would have never have planned to have talked about dating and spirituality and like the new economy at all. Like I just would have never done that if I was just by myself.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like two people, you know, well, you've got two minds, right? So
Yeah.
or and the comments too. So we've
And the
got like
comments exactly.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, when I used to go live on my channel, I know, you know, I'd always start off, I think, just responding to comments and just like talking
Respond to
about what
comment. And then
happened.
you used to like do like you would read some X post, right? Or you'd read like an article
Oh
or
yeah, yeah. It was
you
like
used
if
to
I
do
found
that.
something I shared during found in the week which was interesting. Yeah, I would just share it with the live and just see what people thought. And I was just like, you know what, just put it out there, see what people. I mean, I never took it that seriously, but yeah, it's like because X started to get really heavy and like
Oh,
this is a
okay.
problem with this kind of topic. Not what we're talking about now,
Yeah.
but yeah, I just find like depending on the topic, like it can all get a bit heavy. So yeah,
Yeah.
but I totally get it. Like when it's just you up here. But then as I said, it's like it's no right or wrong. Nobody sat there judging
Yeah,
you.
I think
So
I think what I like about lives also is it's like, oh, like you also have to think on your feet. And it almost feels like jazz improvisation where
yeah,
it's like you
but
talk about this, you talk about that, you talk.
yeah, it's like improv, but within a structured like if what I used to do is like in your brain, hold on to a core theme or like a topic and just keep
Yeah.
drawing back to it and keep centering around it. And I was going to say as well, I saw Valentino saying, I miss Ellie's live stream. They've
Live
all
they will.
disappeared. I'll explain. My lives, I haven't deleted them. I have just privated them. And there's actually a reason I did private my lives. And the problem is if I go into one topic, it's like a snowball of other reasons I'll have to
Yeah.
explain. So all I'll say is I privated my lives not because of anyone like in particular, but just because of me trying to feel a bit like more like I don't know, like I don't know how to describe it. Like because my lives were kind of just like, you know, freestyling and stuff. And what I talk about on those lives, you know, quite heavy stuff. I just wanted a bit of a reset and
Yeah.
just to be like, right, I want to come back. And I'm going to probably put them all back on public when I feel ready. But it was just where I was at in my life. I was like, I just want a bit of like time to reset my mind. And yeah, so they're not
Yeah, no.
deleted. They're still there. They're just privated.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's what also is interesting is it's like because I think I started live streaming with actually Ellie. I think you were the first you're kind of like this anchor. You're like a part of my channel's history. But when I first started
Hmm.
going live, I had no idea what I was gonna expect. Like I didn't expect anything. But now that like I've done it a little bit, I'm like, wait, this is actually kind of like I also feel like I'm growing as a creator in a different. It's like stretching a different muscle.
Yeah, 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 definitely. And it also, like you said, you've come to find that you enjoy lives doing them.
Hmm.
So yeah, and I really did enjoy the lives at one point. I actually started off, I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah.
But as I said, you know, because of certain things, it just
No, and that's okay. Yeah, you don't have. I think what is it called? I think the beautiful thing about life though is it's like in some ways maybe my lives are like, a reincarnation, a new chapter. Maybe not in the same exact way, but we can
oh well, your lives are 100% like yours, and I think
exactly.
you are like I'm here as a guest, like on your live
Exactly.
vibing with
No,
you, but
friend
like
of the channel, friend of the
yeah,
channel.
like no, you're you know you whatever you want to do here, this is your channel, like this is completely down to you. But I was just saying like you know, my lives were kind of yeah, they were I did really enjoy them, but
Yeah.
who knows? Look, who knows? I've wanted to go live this summer while I've had the chance to. I really do want to, but it's about gearing myself back up and mentally preparing myself for that
Yeah.
again. So let's
Because
hope
I
I can
think
get the
the
time
side
out.
about YouTube, because when I first started posting on YouTube, Ellie, it was like 3 videos a week. Like I'm afraid
Mm,
it'll take, oh my gosh. Yes, Valentine. Of course, everyone is a
yeah,
friend of the channel, friend of the
yeah, yeah.
but no, what I never expected is it's like I always used to think I'm like, what's wrong with content creators? All you have to do is make a video. It's so easy, anyone can do it. And then I started making it consistently and I was like, oh, this is a lot. Like mentally this is a
Yeah,
lot. Just like and
yeah.
even though my videos are very low effort, no editing, no script, it's still like sitting, recording, and like the whole process doing that over and over and over again.
Yeah. And you know what? I've always thought like if I was talking about something else, I might be able to I might feel way more like I'd have more creative freedom and I would feel a bit more like I don't know, but it's because of the topic. And I never intended like my channel started off as a way to get my message out there. Yeah, and I'm just seeing the comment now. Yeah, sorry. I just read that and I'm like, I know you can do a good Californian
You
accent.
can just like sound
Yes.
like you're from like California. You can just like sound
I believe like I could easily pass as an American. Like who would
as an
know that I'm actually
American,
born?
yeah, like we
Yes.
like sound like, and like we're just from like California, and like we're really chill, and we just like go to Santa Monica on the
And
weekends.
I see you say I can do a good Texan one. Ask Caleb. So
Oh,
have
oh
you heard
yes,
Valentino speak?
I've heard Valentino speak. He
Oh,
speaks
so you
quite
two have
well.
had a conversation
Yes,
on oh, I
we've
didn't
had a
know that.
private
Okay.
conversation. You know,
Okay.
Ellie, I'm a man of the community, so people can come to me and talk to me. You can
Nice,
message me.
nice.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, because I was just thinking, oh, Caleb is.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
you
chat.
chat
Yeah,
on
we chat. Yeah, we chat on
Discord.
this. Yeah, we chat on this.
Okay, I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
know.
Valentino's yeah, yeah, because Ellie, I don't. I guess because obviously it's like I'm a private person, so I don't like just like how
Well,
I don't know
I
everything of.
knew, I think, yeah, I didn't know you two because when you said you'd heard Caleb's heard your accent, I
Yeah,
thought,
yeah,
oh,
I've heard Valentino.
well, that's
Obviously,
nice that you
Valentino
guys
knows how
talk
I
behind
speak.
the screen. That's really
Of
nice.
course.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, no,
that's
yes,
really
no,
nice.
Valentino. I think Valentino. No, you've actually been such your messages. I'm not the best at responding, but just off the fact that like that's what actually one of the things I really liked about your channel, Ellie, is like speaking of networking, Valentino and I were able to connect because of your love.
Honestly,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
I
actually
feel
one of the best
like
parts.
yeah, the people like Baz, Jason, Valentino, like people who popped up here as well, like you guys were like, honestly, that's one of the reasons I do feel like YouTube is worth it for that reason. The people you get to meet who you probably never would have met any other
No,
way.
I would have never.
And
I'm in Texas.
it's like even people in the UK, like Valentino's in Yorkshire, Baz is in the Midlands, I'm in London. So it's like we're all, and I know our country's not very big. For you, that's just like
Yeah,
Texas, not even
but
Texas,
no,
man. That's like,
but knowing what I know about each and one every one of y'all's lives, your lives are also your lives are different. So
yeah,
naturally you wouldn't have even crossed paths.
I know, I know. I mean, Valentino and I don't know, maybe because he used to be Muslim and so did I. Maybe like we would have, I don't know, maybe we would have gone
But
to a
I don't
wedding and been at the same
but
wedding, not knowing each other. Who knows? But
even let's say but like when we talk about Ellie, the thing is what we talk about is it's like I feel like I would only talk about this person if I knew they were interested in it. Like most people, I'm
yeah,
just like, oh, like how's the weather, whatever. Your kids did that. That's crazy. But for you, I
yeah,
can say like about spirituality. I can talk about unknown forces. I can talk about the direction society is because I know
yeah,
you would be interested in. But even
yeah.
if we ran into each other in our personal lives, I don't know to say that we would actually like, who
Oh yeah.
knows?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've said it before, neurotypical people on average prefer to make chit chat and talk about the weather.
Hmm.
Like that's humans. I mean, when I'm in real life, I talk to someone and I can kind of gauge what kind of like topics they would be more interested in. So I kind of go with the flow. But if I pick up on the fact that someone is into my topics, I'm just all there. I'm like, yes, let's
Wow.
go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because
and
it's
we've got
very
nothing
like
to lose. It's like they either like it or they don't. That's
because
it.
Ellie, in my personal life, I don't like this. Ellie, you are one of the few, if not only, person I consistently talk to about these things because people aren't interested in languages. People aren't interested in
Hmm.
anthropology, philosophy,
Yeah, yeah,
sociology in
yeah,
the same way.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, and oh, and Valentina is saying, "Oh, Ellie, I really wanted to ask you what you think about the UFO files that were released. Which ones are those? Because there's quite a few, but I don't know which specifically. But let me see. If you give me kind of inkling of which
Yeah,
ones you're
like more
referring to, then
context, or like
yeah,
if
then
you
I
could
can
like
let
give
you
us a
know.
link.
Because yeah, no, or just say which ones you've heard of,
Yeah.
and I can say it. But I will say I did. I don't know if you know about Disclosure Day, the movie that came out
Oh my
in,
gosh, Disclosure Day. It was filmed.
back in June,
Yes.
which was, I think, for a lot of people who are interested in UAPs and UFOs, like that was, I was so buzzed for that because it's like Steven Spielberg, who did Encounter of the Third Kind, and like, all of that. Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So I actually was not I wasn't in London when it came out, but I made every effort to go to the cinema where I was and watch it. And it was like I cried in the cinema.
oh wow. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know that that was. I didn't know that it was that meaningful to you.
Oh my god, I cried. I cried so much. And I was like, oh, I can't. It was so much rolled into one. Like it also had a really like, I don't know, there was some personal stuff in there and I just cried and I
Okay.
was like, this is, I think it's just the full circle moment of this being something laughed at. And even in Steven Spielberg's career, he started off with Encounters of the Third Kind in the 70s.
Yeah.
And the way he presented UAPs back then was he had to be careful because he's like, this isn't,
Oh,
people
okay.
think it's
But I
like
feel like it's more
weird.
socially. I feel like
Yeah,
it's more socially acceptable to talk about UAPs, unexplained
yeah,
phenomenon. Just
yeah, yeah. And that's what he said in his career. He's really old now, but like he was able to make a movie now where the whole conversation has changed. Like it's no longer, people are not laughed at anymore. And I know I'm getting emotional now, but it's like
no. So okay.
that was such a, I
Okay.
think it's a human moment. I was actually like, this is so amazing for humanity
Okay.
that we see that growth. But yeah, and sorry, that I'm not gonna go too much on a tangent there, but JD
No.
Vaughn says aliens are demonic, I think. A lot of people held that belief that, and
Mm-hmm.
do you know what, Valentino? This is why the US did do a lot of disinformation campaigns, misinformation campaigns about this, and hold back a lot of you know access to information they had, because there was religious people in Congress at the time, and I still think to this day, who do believe the phenomena is something bad, like as in demonic entities and stuff.
But then
So
again, I do think that like I think like calling something demonic, which I do believe in demons, so like I'll
mm,
say my bias right there. But I do think that though sometimes you people use that as a shorthand for things they're ignorant about.
yeah, that can be true. Yeah, stuff
Yeah.
exactly that they just cast off as like, oh, it's that, it's it's against what I believe, therefore it's evil. Yeah, that's completely true. And
Well,
uh
but I do think it is a bit of a distraction because why is it that you're all secret about this for decades? I mean decades.
no, what it is that they couldn't anymore do what they were doing because of technology changing. People can now upload sightings they've had, people can share their experiences, and whistleblowers within the government and other agencies were coming out. There was a New York Times article back in 2016 or something, which
Yeah.
really was this got it all kicked off. It was because people in the past, people have gotten serious trouble for talking about this in public. So it took a few brave individuals to be like, "Do you know what, screw it, I'm going out there and telling people what I know," because um, people believe, and rightly so, humans have the right to know this stuff. Like they think, who are the government to gatekeep this, which has been happening for the last, I wouldn't say maybe 100, but yeah, around that
Yeah, I
time.
completely agree. Because I do
Hmm.
think though, like, because I've spent a lot of time in natural history museums. I've been telling Ellie that. And
Hmm.
when I go into natural history museums, it does feel like there's a missing link. Because you go from dinosaurs to humans, but I'm like, what's to say that there are creatures that we just don't know about? Or there are
Yeah, of
things we just
course.
don't know?
Yeah.
Like it's like
Yeah.
because even when I'm in a natural history museum, I'm like some of these bones and some of these things that have gone extinct are so vast, and I'm like, I find that hard to believe that we've mapped out everything and that we know everything there is to know, like within the sea or within the land.
Yeah, especially the ocean. Yeah, it's and you're right. There is a link between Bigfoot, or it's got many different names in different cultures, but yeah, there's a link between that and UFOs and UAPs. Um, and again, like Caleb's saying, even in America, some of the national parks are so big.
So
Maybe we
vast.
just
Oh my.
yeah,
Because like Alaska is just I don't think people know how big Alaska is.
oh, it's
It's bas-
huge.
it's
It's
basically the size of the
huge.
Midwest.
Yeah, it is huge. It's yeah, you're right. It's like a vast wilderness out there, and who's to say some of this stuff is just unknown stuff we don't know yet. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, I think, and again, I do sort of say this is a hangover from, the new atheist kind of movement and stuff where they kind of cast everything where we have a question mark over certain things, they would cast it as kind of like, oh, that's magic. And that's just people being, using their imagination, and we can only stick to what we can observably test and see and know. And it's like, hold on a second, like there's so much around us we don't understand that we don't know. That doesn't make it unreal. It just means we don't understand how it works, or we just haven't seen it properly enough. And
And
yeah, so
I don't like using science. I don't like using science to define everything. I really don't.
yeah,
That's if
oh
I were to
yeah,
criticize the new atheist movement, I don't like this whole logic. Well, you can just logically explain everything. I can just use logic. As somebody who studies logic in their free time and
mm,
learns about axioms and syllogisms and
mm,
ponus and monus tollens, I don't want to use that for everything in my life.
yeah, exactly. And I completely agree. And I think that is what the word spiritual means, right? It's almost as if it's just something that transcends what the kind of human world. It's just something that transcends language. And you're right,
Because
we don't always need to measure it using the scientific method.
what I've noticed is it's like any of like the top researchers, any of the top mathematicians, top scientists, even computer scientists will say, no, there is so much unknown that they're
Mm-hmm.
only scratching the surface.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
oh my gosh, yes, we.
Be
Ellie,
careful.
Ellie, you want to
Be
come present?
careful.
Ellie,
That
you want to
sounds
come? Ellie, you want
mate,
to come and look for?
you guys can go to Alaska. I will go somewhere like
What are you
Australia.
talking? Wait, you don't want to. But Ellie, I feel like okay. What about Aurora Borealis? Haven't you always wanted to see the Northern Lights?
Not
Oh,
really.
oh wow. Okay, never
They
mind.
look beautiful, but I'm like, okay, yeah, if I went there, I'd probably be blown
Yeah, that's what
away.
I'm saying. That's what
But
I'm saying, Ellie. You don't have to come Bigfoot hunting, but you can.
yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do the Northern
Yeah,
Lights, but
you could.
Bigfoot, bruh, I've got like enough things in my life. I don't
You
need to
see,
go looking for Bigfoot.
Ellie.
But be
I feel
careful,
like this.
guys.
I feel like this is a man-woman. I also think this is a masculine-feminine thing.
I think so. I think it's quite masculine coded to go looking
Yeah,
for Bigfoot.
to go and ask it. Because I
Yeah,
immediately thought that I was like, yes, I'll be like, absolutely, of course I would go.
yeah. Like you should see me. I think I've told you, like just hearing possums at night in
Yeah.
Australia is enough to freak me out. Like hearing
Wow.
wildlife. Yeah, man, I
Okay,
get
so
freaked out. So like
I would say
so
a kangaroo would freak me. Like if I saw a
oh
full, because they're what 6 feet tall. They're like six
they're
foot
taller
six
than
or something.
me. They're
Yeah,
bigger
they're
than
like
me.
six.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're like 6 foot 6, and if they kick you, you break rib. Like they'll
I
break your
know.
ribs.
I know. And my God, they are so unlike any animal you've ever seen before. Like, okay, you look at them from far away and you're like, oh, they kind of look cute. Like, they
No, they're
bounce up and
not.
down. But yeah, I remember walking at night and actually, I was walking at night just to get some fresh air and like
Yeah.
on a street, like seeing something I felt like looked like a human. And
That
yeah, this house.
was a huge.
Oh my God, this was so scary. Like I'm walking and I think, oh, that's a human. It's because it's also because it was staring into a window
Oh,
from
also
the house.
kangaroos are like standing up. Kangaroos stand up.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
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 they're
they
not
they
on four.
stand
Yeah,
up.
they're bipedal. Oh my
Yeah, yeah,
gosh.
yeah. So when they're like getting grass, they like kind of bite the grass, or they kind of like I don't know, like go for
Yeah,
it with
yeah,
their
they're
hands.
but
But
no,
when
but
they
they're
they
standing
look
up.
for
They're by
danger. Yeah, but they because they don't really like have any facial expressions and you know they kind of just stare at you, and like I didn't know what to do because I was like, oh my god, it was a male kangaroo. It looked like huge, and I was just like, yeah, I just backed away slowly. I was like, because like you said, Caleb, that could have gone wrong. Like if it
No,
come
that
too
could yeah, that could
close,
have gone
yeah.
real. Cause what is it called? So I was actually, man, this is such like a colonial, like this is such a Western thing. I actually there was a I saw a kangaroo last week. I'm not
Yes,
joking.
you
I
did.
really,
Yeah.
yeah, because a guy brought a baby kangaroo to camp. So
What?
yeah, I didn't tell you this. Yeah, I didn't tell you this. Yeah, so I was a camp counselor last week, and a guy brought a baby kangaroo. Like he just like reached into a pouch, and then it like,
Was it
yeah,
alive? Well, like
yeah, no,
was it
it was a full on kangaroo.
what?
Yeah, it was a
I
baby
have so many
kangaroo.
questions on where did he even get it from?
You know, Ellie, Texas has, you know, some
Yeah,
wealthy people just bring exotic animals.
true.
No, there's a
I just thought of. I was like, oh, it's Texas, it's America.
yeah,
What am I
yeah,
talking about?
exactly. But no, yeah, no, like Ellie, yeah, like yes. So actually, I technically saw two kangaroos last week. I saw one in a museum, and then yeah, I saw a real life kangaroo. Just
Oh
like
my god! But in that case, though, how old was it? Was it like a Joey, or was it?
it was definitely a joke. It was a baby. It was definitely
So then
because
that man has separated it from its mother, then, which that's not.
oh, well,
That's
it may have been a rescue. I don't know. I actually don't
okay.
know.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know, but even the guy was like, no, like once this kangaroo becomes a full-on adult, he'll be 6'6", and you can't.
yeah. And they have these gigantic feet, like their feet are so long, and they have this massive. Like if you look at marsupials, they are so different to like placental mammals. They took a complete, different thing on
Well, what's
evolution.
so interesting is it's like I look at like I've been really going to a lot of natural history museums.
Hmm.
Something's going on in Australia. It's almost as if Australia is like a lost world because I look at the creatures in Australia and I'm like platypuses, koalas,
I know,
kangaroos,
I know.
giant spiders. I'm like,
Oh man, yes, yeah, huntsman spiders. Oh my god, like as well, like with kangaroo koalas. Like, I didn't even know this, but like they number one, they have two thumbs, right? Like they have that's bizarre. And then their feet. If you ever look at their feet, they're like their big toe, like they've either it's a little toe and the one next to that, or their big toe is like fused together. So they have a
mhm.
split toe. They have like imagine like a kind of pad and then like a two toes sticking out of it.
Oh, that's so weird. That's so
It's really,
strange.
yeah, you if you after this type it up and look at it, and
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
really bizarre.
But
But
no,
yeah,
yeah, Australia is and it's so interesting whenever you go when I went to a natural history museum, I started thinking about, oh my gosh, like and you kind of see this in computer science too, but at one point all of life was one. And then
yeah,
like and all it took was like just minor differences, just minor
yeah,
just a slightly different thing, a slightly different thing, and then like add millions of years, you have vastly different species.
yeah. Although sometimes I do believe in evolution, and I know like it's not really a theory anymore. It's pretty much
Yeah, it's
it's
proven.
pretty
Yeah,
much
it's
what.
pretty.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah, like
exactly.
it's a part of biology, like evolution.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. And but there is a part of me which is like, I don't know, like I just feel like if you look at a cat, a cat is a
Yeah.
cat, and
Okay.
there's like an essence of what it means to be a cat, and it's like, no matter what you're born into, we still and I guess you probably just say, well, yeah, that's because of DNA and stuff, but
Yes. Yes.
I, I do feel like, yeah, we all came from the same thing, but we're so distinctly different, and we're so
Well,
distinctly what we are.
but the thing is, though, it's like, but I'm not talking about millions of years. Like these are million. When you apply that, like,
I know,
because
I know, I know it's right, but I just
yeah,
still don't. It doesn't
I
feel
know it's
right
hard.
in
I
my
know it's
head.
hard to believe, and it's because it's not an obvious truth. It's not an
Yeah,
obvious thing. But then, like, and that's what's so interesting about like learning about new things is it's like you learn unconventional or non untrivial or things where like, oh, once you go a layer deeper, and then once you realize, even though you say a cat is a cat, you start to realize though that like, oh no, there's actually evidence that all mammals come from the same source. Like once you start like I said, going a
yeah,
level deep.
yeah. You're right, and it's like it's not just through finding fossils; it's also through our DNA. Like you can literally see it diverging, and just mapping out the human genome, whatever.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like you can see that our closest next relative is like a bonobo or a chimpanzee, and that for me is like where it gets a bit undeniable. It's like not only do you have the fossils, but the DNA also matches up to
Also,
it.
like when I'm in a natural history museum, or even when I'm in a zoo, I don't like going to zoos that much, moral reasons. But even when I'm in a natural history museum, I look at Neanderthals, I look at Homo sapiens, I look at Homo erectus, and I'm like, no, like there are humanoids. Like it's undeniable. You can see the humanity within
Yeah,
our
you can.
ancestors.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
like it's
yeah,
undeniable. Like
yeah.
it, even you could disbelieve in evolution all you want, but when you're presented with something that's undeniable, because you can't explain, the similarities are just too much.
Yeah, but then I always think like, okay, I'll accept that, certain animals have very like we're closely related to certain animals.
Yeah.
Well, what if that's just the design, of whoever created it? Maybe he just made it that way. How can you
And I think,
disprove that?
yeah, that's the problem. You can't prove. So I will say though, there are parts of evolution that do get a bit hard, because once you start adding hundreds of millions and millions of years, then you're like, because you weren't there hundreds of millions a
Yeah.
year. So it almost is like, yeah, like are all tetrapods, including us, have the same limbs? The similarities are there, but not obvious. Yeah, that's what I'll. Yeah, exactly.
But then, like, my point is, like, what if that is just the way they were designed to be? Like, what if it looks like it's because they all came from the same thing, but actually it's just how it was made from the beginning?
I
Like,
guess,
why is that not a possibility?
but then why is it though? Then like, why is it then that the animals we have now didn't exist hundreds of millions of years ago?
Because again, so that's a good point. That's a
Yeah.
really good point.
Yeah, that's
And
what. Yeah, that's because
yeah,
I get what you're saying, Ellie. But then when I go to the Natural History Museum, I should then see like dogs. I then should
you're right.
see cat.
You're
But you
100%
don't see
right.
that. You see actually like you see some bizarre creatures
You do,
when you
you
go.
do,
And
and
yeah,
you clearly see animals in an in between stage of what was even a more older and now. But I can think of another reason for that. So it's like,
yeah, okay,
what if like what like maybe it was just those animals like okay, so you would probably say why don't we see any skeletons of cats like
yeah,
from
exactly. Yeah, from
500 years
100,
ago?
yeah,
Yeah.
500 mil. I'm talking about millions of
Yeah,
years
yeah, yeah,
ago.
exactly. So this is where carbon dating starts to come in and stuff, where you can actually say, right, this set of bones is older than this one, and why are there no cat skeletons from 500 years ago? So again, that's why I'm saying evolution. Yeah, I can see like the evidence is clearly there for it, but at the same time, I just don't know why it just doesn't feel right to me.
Well, and here's why I think is going on, Ellie. Because, like I said, this isn't an obvious. You have to study it in order to realize it.
No,
Like
yeah,
you,
yeah. Although it's actually, I think there are some basic facts which kind of, even without studying it, can kind of prove it. Like what you
yeah,
just said. Like, okay, number one, and what Valentino said. There is evidence in our bones. There's genetic evidence.
but you still have to study.
You know,
I've spent a lot of time. I'm not a children expert. That might put me on a list, but I'm not an expert in children. But children don't inherently know that like all animals are related. Like they don't look at
hmm.
their dog. You have to teach that to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And so
yeah.
same thing I think with evolution and biology. It's like they don't just inherently, like they might know about the sun and about dirt and about other things. They might know about breathing and using the bathroom and like kindness. But when it comes to okay, their bone structure, like you would need to read it in a book and someone would have to explain to a child. Actually, like things have evolved into the way we are. And I think that's the same thing with what we see now.
Yeah, you're right. It's obviously this is not stuff which is obvious on the surface, although I do think evolution can be easily explained, like we've just done now. I came out with my kind of I did start off by saying I do know it's like
Yeah, of
it's
course. Yeah, I know you
I'm
acknowledge
not,
it, but
yeah,
but your
I'm not like
doubts
a
are also true.
creationalist.
But it's also
Yeah.
true though. But also the other side is true too. Like both claims are very interesting, because it is interesting though. I think it's because we don't see evolution within our lifetime. Like since it
Mm.
happens over like the span of millions of years, because I find it hard to believe too. I find it hard to believe that there were other humanoid groups. Like if I had never seen other humanoids, I wouldn't believe, like I just wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. But then I also think, but we do also rely on what like people have told us, like academics have told us, which
Hmm.
is the actual, because like that being said, none of us have actually dug up a skeleton of an animal that lived 400 years ago either.
Mm.
Like, we actually don't see evidence of evolution around us at all. Like, it's we're relying on what, you know, people we consider to be voices of authority on this subject tell us.
But then I
And
do feel like if we studied like biology or archaeology, then I think we would start to sound like academics though. Like I think we would come to very similar conclusions
yeah,
that they do.
because again, you're entering into that field of study, and you're absorb. Then you become, you know, you're absorbing the information which exists in that field of study, which obviously research has been conducted and done by people in that field. So again, I'm saying, yeah, if you go into it, but I just feel like, you know, as I said, I'm not. I do think evolution is, it's not as clear as day as like medical sciences.
I
Like,
agree. I completely
yeah,
agree.
yeah, or like even tech. Like, you can,
Oh,
tech is like clearly, yeah, like your phone
uh,
works because of the science behind it. It's pretty simple.
yes. But and
Um,
even that science is it's like it's highly debated. Like there's trust
but
me, people do not
it's
agree on so yeah, but it's still
yeah,
built
but
off
it's
some
still very,
fundamentals. Yeah.
yeah, it's still very, like, you know, you make a phone and it's there and you can see the science in
Yeah.
action. You know, like, what do they call it? Like applicable kind of science or whatever.
Exactly.
Whereas
Yeah.
like, yeah, whereas I feel like with evolution, it's like ad hoc, right? It's like everything is, you're
I
kind of
think
like,
it's because there's a layer of history to evolution.
mm,
Like it's not like it's not like with my phone or with computer science where there is no hundreds of millions of years for computer science. It's either the program
mm-hmm,
runs or it doesn't. But when it comes
mm.
to like looking at fossils and your cat and carbon dating, you do have to like use tools now to look billions and hundreds of millions of years in the past, which
But that
things
means
get
there's still scope for things to not be 100% correct, because you
exact
still are looking backwards.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, yeah, that's where I feel like what I've noticed with my lived experience now is, as I said, of course, I understand behind every field of study to do with evolution, like you said, carbon dating, archaeology. These are really well established fields of study, and they do use, you know, results which are the correct way which you produce to see if something is true or not, whatever, that kind of stuff. So I'm not denying that, but I'm just saying, I look at something like, you know, the topic of the pyramids in Egypt, and how
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
told that these are completely, you know, I don't know, 4,000, no, they're not 4,000, like
I
7,000
would
years old,
know.
whatever they
Yeah.
said. Or like humans were hunter gatherers only up until, I don't know, what was it? Like, yeah, civilization is around 7,000 years old or something. But then you find a site which actually pushes it back and say, no, this site was built 15,000 years ago. But we've always been taught humans were hunter gatherers and there was no civilization at that point. So I just always think, because we're working backwards, and when you even said with computer science, I was like, the thing is, as long as we keep the records, in 200 years from now,
Yeah.
they will still be able to see what we were doing.
Okay.
Pretty clear.
Okay.
Like, they're going to still be able, you know, they're not like retro engineering it. They're going to actually see it and say, like, oh, this is how it worked. Whereas we don't have that evidence for other things.
So you said something that I completely agree with, where it's like it's extremely hard to prove something millions of years ago because we weren't there millions of years. And I think
Yeah.
this is and I think evolution will always have this problem. Like
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
evolutionary biology will always like there is no really solution to it because we're trying to use 2026 technology in 2026 world to describe something like a million BCE, like
Mm-hmm.
500 million, like during the Cretaceous period, or I
Yeah.
forget the periods. And
Yeah.
it's like there's going to be inaccuracies. And the problem
Mm-hmm.
is a small inaccuracy is okay, you know, for 5, 10, even 200 years, a small inaccuracy. But then once you
Mm-hmm.
apply that to hundreds of millions of years, you're like, oh, like then the
Yeah.
small inaccuracy can become exponential.
Exactly. Like, a whole field can grow from one error. Like, that's the problem.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I get now that I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
problem is, it's like there's no way to check that. That's the problem. Like
I
there's no
know.
way,
I know.
and there's also
Yeah.
no way to disprove it. Like there's no way either
Yes.
way.
Exactly. So the correct thing you do is, like what you and Valentina have been saying, is, well, all you can really do is stick to the science and the evidence, and, you know, apply the same techniques we use to investigate truth or produce results we just have to apply the same, and then whatever it's telling us, that's what it's telling us.
Yeah.
We can't, like, in my case, I'm not actually basing it off anything concrete that I found. I'm just like logically trying to use
And
my logic.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think what I like about Ellie, your pushback is it's like that's what scientists do, because I don't think every evolutionary biologist agree. I wouldn't be surprised
Mm,
because I know computer scientists definitely don't agree. So
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there are camps, like if there are people that lean more into your camp and maybe
Hmm.
people that lean more into my camp.
Yeah,
But
of
then I
course.
think
Yeah.
though there's a basic, like there's axioms or there's a foundation that no matter what camp you're in, you would agree on, and then you might go into different.
Yes, exactly. And one thing we can't allow to happen is like someone's kind of like they have like a hunch about something, or they just
Yeah.
have an inkling. Like, I don't, you can't just go, oh, because I feel like this might not be true, therefore the whole
Mm.
thing falls apart. No, you still need to bring the evidence, and you still need to be able to show why it isn't correct.
And
So, but it does, yeah.
yeah. And no, it's weird. It's like because I'd never, as a kid, I never really cared about natural history. Like I just didn't. I
Yeah.
just did. I was never into dinosaurs. I wasn't into animals like that. It wasn't really. It wasn't until like the last year or a few months ago. My sister in New York City, like she took me to a natural history museum, and I was like, oh my gosh, like animals and all of this. There's so much more to the world than I just would have ever imagined.
Mm. Yeah, I know. And it is amazing, and I think it's such an interesting thing to study and be interested in. But I something life has taught me is I always like when I hear about something, I don't take anything anymore as concrete evidence or face value. I'm like, life
Okay.
has taught me that, like we were saying, evolution is true, but I feel like, maybe some
True.
elements of it,
Yeah, like true to what degree and in what
yeah,
context? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like
yeah,
what are the
that's,
boundaries of this truth?
yeah. And there's still room for, like, there's scope to still have questions about certain things. But yeah, and I
Mm,
think Valentino says something. I think evolution is not easy to intuit, but over time you can, look, I agree with you. And
yeah,
since
no.
I've
That's
been
why I said the
12,
Natural History Museum. Like it really,
yeah.
because I didn't believe in evolution until I was like an adult because
See,
I
I'm
went to
the
Catholic
opposite
school.
way.
Yeah, because I went to
Yeah.
Catholic school, so I wasn't taught evolution. Like I
I'm
wasn't.
the opposite. I believed in it when they taught it to me at
Uh,
school. I just accepted it. Yeah, this is true. But what's happened to me, the older I've gotten and the more I've researched, it's not that I don't believe in it. It's again, I have to clarify. I'm
Yeah,
not
because
saying
yeah, I
I
know it's
believe.
yeah, because it's yeah, because when people say, "Oh, I don't really believe in evolution," they'll think, "Oh, are you a creationist?" Like then you just
Yeah, and I'm not even saying I don't believe in it. I'm just saying sometimes I find it, even as much as I visualize it, it does. I don't find it really an easy thing to swallow, and I
okay,
guess it probably is because of the amount of time we're talking about. And I'm a human, and
yeah,
our lives are not 600 million years. I know, of
no,
course, you can run a simulation and it will show you the same results. I'm just saying I find it really hard to visualize it, and that's it, really. But yeah, I definitely do believe in evolution. I'm not saying I don't.
no, and you know what is interesting though is it's interesting though, like all these fields of study, whether it be evolution, spirituality, economics, when you apply it to like hundreds of millions of years, it's so interesting. Like you actually almost can't predict the outcome.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I guarantee you,
exactly.
like, I don't know, the humanoids of like way back then, they would have never guessed that we would have evolved into.
Yeah, exactly. And the time, like we said, the amount of time we're talking about, I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
And as a human, we don't experience sick. We only experience what, 80 years. So even for us, it's
Yeah.
hard to imagine
Oh,
a
it's not, it's like a
200-year
blink.
stretch
It's
of.
legit. Our lifetimes are less than a blink of an eye
I know,
in the
I know.
context of history.
Yeah. So I think it's probably just a thing of, like, you know, it's just a mind-boggling thing, but that doesn't mean it's not true. It just means it's just really extraordinary.
And it is interesting because, like, for me, I'm so used to thinking of somebody from Texas. I'm so used to think of somebody, oh, I've spent 21 years in school. I'm so used to thinking that, like, my experience is this, like, universal and that it just applies in all context. And as I've gotten older, I've realized that that could not be farther from the truth.
Oh yeah, that I 100% agree with. I'm like, everyone is walking a different path, like, and I think you can even see that just by, looking in your local area. You'll get people of all walks of life.
And
Um,
no, I know that nothing is certain. There's always limits to our knowledge, and in the future, things will be up to evolution's the same. No,
yeah,
exactly.
that's a really healthy middle ground to come
I
to. I agree
completely
with you.
agree.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I want to, like, I don't know why. So I've been wanting to read Immanuel Kant, and
Mm.
he's a very big person about how how can you know if something is certain? Mind you, I haven't read him. You know, this is a Chat GPT summary, so don't quote
Okay.
me on this. But no, like,
AI overlords, the
yeah, this
AI
is an
gods.
AI over. So please, if you're gonna fact check me. But it is interesting. But that's something that, like, I wasn't taught that growing up. I was taught that
Yeah,
this is true, this is this, and
same.
you don't question
Yeah,
it. It
yeah,
wasn't until as an adult where I was like, wait a second, like, what I was taught was very like cultural and very like specific to a certain context. It
yeah.
doesn't apply to someone in like some remote village in Indonesia or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. And even history is written from the perspective of whoever is telling the story. Like, I don't
Exactly.
think, yeah, I do believe there are concrete truths out there. I just don't think as humans we have access to them. And that's where we're going over to the side of axioms like we've been discussing before. But in human life, I don't think any of us have the concrete truth. I just don't.
And you know,
Uh
it's interesting though because it's like, and it's funny because right before this, literally right, I'm not even, I wish I was making this up. It's like I was watching like some video about not what is truth, but it was talking about the Matrix, about how like his whole
mm.
life is a lie, and it was about the red pill, blue pill. And I'm talking about the movie. I'm not talking about these movements nowadays, but like red pill,
Oh,
blue
the
pill, and
actual movie of the
yeah, the actual
Matrix.
movie. Yeah, the actual
Oh,
movie
I
of the
love I love The
yeah,
Matrix. My
because I
favorite
never
movies.
because I didn't pay attention to it much. I was like, ah, that's dumb. But then like I was like my YouTube recommended me something about Hinduism. Yeah, I've seen okay, so I've seen The Matrix. I don't know if I've seen it beginning to end, but I've definitely seen like the last 40 minutes.
It is so loaded with, oh my god. I mean, the inspiration of the movie, where it came from, is an actually really interesting lecture speech called The Matrix of Power. I forgot by the guy's
Oh,
name. That's where it
okay.
comes from.
Okay, come
And
from the
it
Matrix Power. Okay.
yeah, it was inspired, partly inspired by one of these by a speech a guy or a lecture a guy gave. But also, you as a computer scientist, Neo is like into
Yeah,
computer
the
science,
I
hacking.
well, what I like about Neo is it's like it's a anagram for the one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what. So like
yeah.
Neo means one, like it's the one. If you
And
just
then
rip
like
it.
Trinity.
Yeah, so I like, and then Morpheus, and then the Oracle. Like there's, what I
Yeah.
like about the Matrix was like there's a lot of symbolism, but I don't know why, but like I always like leaned more towards Fight Club. I don't know why, like,
I think
'cause
it depends on where you are in your life. I think Fight Club is a really like male centric kind of
mhm.
like tale, which I think really I because knowing young guys and like teens and everything, I can see how Fight Club would be your first like
Because yeah,
yeah.
because I think the Matrix and Fight Club came out around the same time, even though it was
Mm,
before me. But like, I
it did,
watched
yeah.
both, but I watched both of them around the same time. But then Fight Club just resonated with me more than the Matrix.
Yeah, I think because Fight Club is, to me, it's like that testosterone filled like question that men have to ask
Yeah.
themselves, what is it to be a man?
Hmm.
And it's like that journey of like I love in the movie, well, I don't like the fact that like, his apartment explodes, but it's
Yeah.
like that guy has to start from the beginning. It's like, he felt like he was complete because he nearly brought everything from the IKEA catalog or whatever.
And
But
I
it's
think
like, no, like,
there's something so freeing about that. But
yeah,
now
yeah,
it's like now like when I look back, now that I'm older, I probably would appreciate the Matrix, especially
yeah,
studying computer science. I think
yes,
I would really appreciate it because yeah, my brain might start like doing like, oh, we learned about this in school and this and that. But
yeah.
like from what I do remember about the Matrix is it's like I think it made me really question. It's kind of like the reality you experience may not actually be like what's actually going on.
Yes, yes. And Valentino said it, how it's based on Plato's analogy of the cave and Christian mythology. And
Yeah.
Valentino, the Plato's analogy of the cave is such a significant story. And that story in and of itself, that what I like, especially going into the UAP stuff
Yeah.
and the kind of research and academics I've listened to speak about that Plato's allegory. Sorry,
Allegory,
I can never
allegory.
say that word. Allegory of the cave is like, you've got the puppets on the wall, right? The shadows of the puppets on the wall of the cave. But the real question is like, who are the puppet masters? You know?
Yeah, because when I first read, so I've read Plato's The Republic, but I never paid attention. Even when I went over the allegory of the cave, because I took a metaphysics class in uni, but I took a metaphysics class, and it wasn't until like, actually, like I said, I wish I was making this up right before this live stream. If you actually go on my chat GPT, it really is like I was looking up this stuff right before.
Mm. I look this stuff up every day. I'm always thinking about this stuff.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah,
Some of my favorite: Lord of the Rings, Into the Wild, The Matrix, T2, and oh, I love Shawshank Redemption.
that's another good movie. I like that one too.
That was a good, that one actually. I
Though,
don't
I
know,
look at all of this and I'm like, one thing that strikes me as a woman is that so many of these stories, maybe apart from the Matrix, but it's like so many of these are like male coded stories. I know it reminded me of something I was listening to the other day of how Hollywood and our kind of cultural storytelling is it's so much from a man's perspective. Like that's what strikes me. Like,
and I think
I would love
Ellie,
to see more female centric stories coming out.
and I think Ellie, you and I have spoken about this. Like I,
Yeah.
because I think we were I think I was speaking to you about how like this whole like Carl Jung and like this like archetype and this psychology is a very
Yeah.
male dominated. And I
Yeah.
don't know, like I don't know why does it seem like not every myth, but a lot of myths do take on the perspective from
It's
a
because
man.
men, for a long time now in human history, men have been the default setting of every experience. It's like female experiences are considered secondary. And when you're seeing those films, Valentina, I was like, the interesting thing, those are my reference points as well from my childhood. I'm like, it's not like I don't enjoy those films. I do, but it just hit me. I'm like, wow, these are really like male stories. And I'm like,
But what
you know,
I wonder is like I don't know this off the top of my head, but I don't think women are directors. Like I don't think women go into directing in large numbers.
it's another thing I've been looking into recently, how many women have been there behind the scenes writing stories, telling
Yeah.
stories, but because we've been historically closed out of so many institutions, it's only in the modern world we've actually been opened up into the workforce in the same way. And I think hopefully in the future there will be more female directors, but it's also about what resonates with the audience because there are
Yeah,
female
that's
directors
true.
already.
Yeah, that
um
is true.
yeah, but what happens is the stories that the films we kind of have as our like cultural in the cultural zeitgeist as reference points, like we're talking about now, they're male coded, they're male centric and male led, and it's like
Because
I yeah,
when I think of a female story, I just think of the Barbie movie, and I'm like, is that really the only thing I can
think it's a
come up
no, but
with?
I think it's a good start. I actually think that's a good
Oh, you
start.
think
Like,
okay, that's a good okay.
yeah,
Yeah, because actually, I
yeah,
really enjoyed I love the Barbie movie. I don't know if I'm allowed to
yeah.
say. Heck, I'm wearing kind of like this reddish pink right now.
Yeah, magenta pink or what it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah,
Yeah,
but no,
yeah,
like no, I would like to see more diversity in storytelling.
yeah. And I think it's also about men like also being open to hearing the female side because it's like that's why I kind of brought it up because I was like, I feel like the Matrix actually is good because I do feel like that's kind of genderless in its message. I think it's
Yeah,
truly, yeah, it truly tries to ask the human questions, but I'm like, it just kind of hits me like I really would love to see a future where women's perspectives come in and
what a what about like stories like Moana and Frozen and Inside Out? Those are what I know they're children's stories, but aren't those like from a female perspective though?
yeah, but you just said it yourself. For some reason, they're funneled through a child's eyes,
They're trying
which
to
happens a lot with female experiences as well. A lot of, things that are considered female are not taken seriously. They're
well,
considered like,
because I'm trying to think like, well, what's interesting though, like I don't know about the story for Mulan, but like the story about like the Little Mermaid and Cinderella, those are adult stories. Like those are
Yeah, they are. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
but the thing is though, those were written by men. That's where like things so it's a
yeah,
man talk. So that's where things get a little complicated, but it is interesting cuz I didn't realize this cuz my other female friend, she was bringing up how like most dialogue or most involvement that women have in movies is relative to a man. Like it's very
yeah.
rare for women to just talk about each other independently.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, as I said to you before, like it's something I've been looking a lot into recently about women like you know, when I say decentering men, I don't mean that as in like hating
Yeah,
on men,
yeah, I know I
but
know
it's
what you mean in the context.
yeah,
Yeah, because some
yeah,
people have misused that.
yeah, they have. But I feel like it's more about women actually, number one, like bringing our experiences to the table and being like, because I do feel like, and I don't believe humans were always like this. I actually think when we were hunter gatherers, I think even when you look at hunter gatherers alive today, like they were way like more even because women were are essential and they still
Of
are
course.
essential. But like
Yeah.
it kind of ties back to what we are talking about work earlier. And oh, and Valentino said the black swan, the protagonist is female. Yeah, so that movie is actually I do you know what, Valentino, I really like The Black Swan. I think it was a great movie.
Hmm.
I think it really did go into that, like, you know, especially from like a ballerina's perspective of like perfection. And I do think it touched on a lot of female themes of and that's actually a really good example that you brought up because it genuinely does. It resonated with me when I watched it when I was 18. I was like, I completely
Wow,
get
okay.
it.
Maybe Black
Yeah.
Swan and the Matrix. I got some homework.
No, no, because the Black Swan, I don't know, you haven't seen it?
I know
Oh,
I've
okay.
heard of it. I've heard of it, but I've never
Yeah,
seen it.
so it's basically about this ballerina who's just, you know, she gets the main role in a production of Swan Lake, and it kind of just follows her like what she goes through, but it's very psychological, it's very symbolic. And yeah, and I'm someone who did performance as a kid, like
Okay.
gymnastics. I did want to be a ballerina when I was a kid, but I was told to go into gymnastics instead. So I was like,
Okay.
I know that feeling of, especially as a young girl, like getting up on stage and feeling pressured to lose weight and be skinny and like perfection, but it's still part of the art. So yeah, that's actually a good example, Valentino. But I don't feel like those films are like few and far between. Like that, I
Yeah.
wish there were more movies like that.
And it's interesting because I have a Celtic mythology book, and
Yeah.
in my Celtic mythology book, they were saying in the introduction that it's very common for them to actually misgender someone, like where they'll think
Mm.
someone is a man, but it's actually a
Hmm.
woman. Like
Hmm.
it's like and like they'll do and like because in Celtic societies, gender wasn't viewed in the same way we viewed it nowadays. So like
Yeah.
a lot of the protagonists, and I think it's also just a bias to assume it's about a man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. And yeah, Gone Girl is really good as well, actually. I
Okay,
think
maybe
as
I should
well.
read the book. I should read the book then. I didn't know it was
I've
based
heard
off
the
a
book
book
is really good. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've heard it's
because
really
I've
good.
watched the movie. I liked Gone Girl.
Yeah, the movie was really good as well, and I think that was a good portrayal as well of like again becoming the perfect woman.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like no, that's another good example. And I've never actually read the book. I've always wanted
Well,
to, but I never got around
it
to it.
is interesting though that like e- I I guess since I am a man, I view it from the man's perspective. But yeah, I never like I am taught men like I'm introduced as woman or like I'm used to seeing women in relation to men, but never as their
Mhm.
own independent like as their own thing. Or if I do try to see something like that, hello, hello,
Hey,
hello,
Jason.
woo,
Hello.
woo, hey, the
Hello.
gangs.
Hope
Oh
you're
my
doing
gosh.
well. Hope you're not.
Oh my gosh,
Hope
this
the
is a
heat wave
UK.
is treating you
I need to
well.
rename my streams this UK Live. I'm just gonna rename my streams UK Live. There are no Americans here. No, no, Jason. Oh my gosh, yeah. What's up, Jason? But no, Ellie. It's interesting because yeah, I'm not used to like, especially the way I grew up. I'm not used to viewing women as their own independent. Like I'm not used to viewing them as their own, like with their own agency. I wasn't socialized like that.
to me, to hear that's quite, that's kind of like shocking in a way, because it's like, you see women around you all the time, and
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, I'm not, I don't know how it kind of came to be for you that you came to see it that way as a kid or something, but it's like, I like, women are doing their own thing all the time.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
because I don't know, like, because growing up in the South is so weird. It's so weird where like
Mm,
there's like this messed up history that I don't think they've ever fully like reconciled with. So
yeah.
even though we might live in 2026, there's still some like social norms that go back hundreds of years.
But I think actually you saying that is actually kind of, I appreciate the honesty, because like, I
Yeah.
wish more guys would be aware of that, maybe that they grew up not realizing that they don't see women as equals, or like,
It's not even like I hate saying the word, but it's really just their own independent. Does that make sense?
yeah, but it does. And I'm like, but in my mind, that also means they're dependent on men. They don't have their own agency or something. Because I,
Because
like, women bring people into the world. So for
it's obvious,
us to live in
yes.
a world where like it's even possible that like our role is essential to human life.
And it's so
And
interesting because I actually have arguments with my female friends where I tell them because they're like, the man should do this, the man should do that. And I'm like, wait, why are we like pushing these like based off what? Like why like you expect the man to do this and that? But I'm like, I'm not saying like why can't you do it for yourself in a rude way? I'm saying like why are we pushing these things? Why can't we reevaluate the things we've been taught growing up?
yeah, I agree with you. I think we don't need to do something just because we inherited it. And I think the way, like, from my perspective as a female, I would want that. I think there is just so much about our culture which is, women, the way we've been treated historically.
Yeah,
There's just so
yes.
much unlearning to do. And it's not just like for women, it's like it affects all of us. So it's like there's a lot of unlearning to do, and new learning as well.
Because I think for me, I started to do this unlearning or new learning actually in college. Because,
Mm.
and it's funny, it happened in an unexpected place. I remember like I lived with my roommates and a woman would live with us. Like this was the first time I'd ever lived with a woman outside of my family because I was always taught, oh, you're only allowed to live with your wife and anything less than that is not allowed. But then I was
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah, that's what I was like
Mm.
that. And that's like very common, like in the South to kind of be taught that.
Mm.
So it's like interesting. So like that was the first experience where like I saw a woman day to day, like she'd be in the kitchen, she would like just do her own thing, and I was like, oh, like there's nothing special about this. Like there's nothing sexual, there's nothing like inappropriate about her being there. But growing up, I was taught, oh, if you have a female roommate and this and that, it's this whole thing, and I was like, wait a second, no, like that's just not true.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, it's like, and I think even, maybe like culturally as well, different cultures where they only see women, like you just said, through the lens of a man, or like, or in reference to men. And I don't want to turn your stream too much into kind of like a
All
talk
right.
about women and stuff. Maybe
Oh,
it's
oh,
like a good chat
oh
for
my
another
gosh,
time, but
this
like,
is the women's show. We can talk about whatever we. This is
you know
the
what, I
women.
would, I would, I am happy to always talk about female
No,
perspectives and
and
stuff. But
we can have a stream
yeah,
about that.
next
Why
stream,
not?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We can have a chat. And I'm not someone who's like, no, guys, you have to accept this, because I
I know that.
actually,
I know that. I know
yeah,
you.
I'm very like, you know what, I'll hear your side of the story, and I want
Yeah.
to actually hear. I like to hear
Hmm.
what men actually think, because I'm like, right, that gives me an understanding. And I don't hold it against people for holding
Yeah.
the things they do, because most of the time we don't consciously choose this stuff.
I think what was interesting was what is it called? I think I had to do a lot of unlearning growing up.
So
Like
did
I had
I. Even
oh
I
my
did.
gosh.
Yeah,
And woman
yeah,
is like gender roles was just one of the many like spiritually, socially, politically I had to do a lot of like even
yeah,
racially I had to do like some deconstructing, which
yeah, yeah.
like it's not easy. It's not easy to like
It's not. It's not. And look, even me, like, I absorbed messages from second wave feminism, which I think are horrific. Like, get out there, sleep with any guy just because
yeah,
you're a
you can
woman.
do it.
You
You
can.
you can do it. You can do
Oh,
yeah, you can do it on your own.
Oh, what terrible mess. And I don't necessarily blame them. I don't think they were trying to screw people up. But when I was growing up, promiscuity was seen as something like this is the aim for all women. Like,
Mhm.
and I'm like, they went wrong. They were like putting male standards onto women. Like, why would a woman? Okay, fair enough. If you're into one night stands and you genuinely enjoy them, go for it as a woman. That's your prerogative. But like, most women will happily tell you now, like, why would a woman want a one night stand? As I said, unless that is your actual thing. Like, we don't get anything from it. Like, it's
And
barely anything.
it's interesting because I don't think the way I grew up was malicious. Like I don't think they were maliciously
Same,
like
same. It wasn't
it's
inherently,
just
they went, yeah, yeah.
and I think that's the hardest part to reconcile is it's like, oh, like I had all these experiences and then it's like I have to somehow be like what in the world? Like what is like I have to somehow like make sense of the world with a lot of like just misinformation.
Yeah, I know, I know. And it kind of goes back to what we were speaking at the beginning. So much of our lifestyle now is like, right, we were taught this, we expected this. We go out there in the wild into the world and it doesn't even hold up. You know,
Mm,
we're like,
yeah.
okay, some fundamentals, yeah, you know, be
Yeah.
kind to people, compassion, yeah, those work. But we've got so much in this modern world we have to adapt to with no guidance.
And I think it's like I like look at this live stream, I look at this conversation, I look at listening to Valentino and it's great to see Jason. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
That's
Sorry
okay.
about that. Sorry, I
No
still have a
problem.
landline. I still have a landline. Like what is
Oh
what is this?
wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had a landline in 15
Yeah.
years, I think was the last time I
No.
used a landline. 15
No,
years
we have
ago.
Ellie, that's the thing with my with like technology, we don't trust me,
That's okay. Like because it's
we don't
yeah.
update, man.
No, it's okay because I guess because you live with your parents, so it's
Yeah,
like
my
it's
parent. Oh no, trust me,
multi-generational.
they would have they like my dad still uses a pager.
Oh.
Like I still uses a pager
Yeah.
from the 80s. Like this is from the
Wow.
80s. Yeah, so it's like trust me, multi-gener I mean, yeah, so don't like whoa. So sorry about that. But no,
That's okay. Yeah, that's perfectly
no,
fine.
having to unlearn some things, it's like
Yeah.
I think
And
that's the hardest part about being an adult is it's like
yeah, I think so. It's like because you don't get a guidebook on life, and historically, humans actually did have a guide in our
yeah.
community. Like we were never
Mhm.
just on our own working through life. Like we actually were born into systems,
Mhm.
rituals, cultures that were thousands of years old. We knew our place, we knew our people, we were part of a group. But now we're individualized to the point where we're literally living and we're like, right, I go to work, I come home, I do this. But
Yeah.
outside of that, what do I
No,
do?
it's and I actually get so frustrated with how individual like I get so frustrated.
Yeah.
I go to the grocery store or supermarket. I go to the
Yeah.
supermarket, but no,
Tesco.
yeah, Tesco. Yeah, I go to
Yeah.
Tesco. I don't know the person. I go out
Hmm.
like I go out to what is it? I go out to a restaurant. I don't know like I'm just surrounded by people I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I know. I don't think it's natural. I really don't. I
I
don't
don't
think,
think it's natural either.
yeah, I don't think it is. Like, I think most of us, all the topics we've been speaking about today, I know this is idealistic, but I don't
Right?
think it should be.
But
I think, let's say we, like all of the people here talking right now,
yeah,
if
yeah.
we had a commune, right?
Yeah.
And we might not necessarily have all the fancy things, but I
Mhm.
guarantee you food, water, shelter, each other, around the fire every night. I'm pretty sure we'd all be pretty happy with that. I think,
Exactly. Would in the
yeah.
teepee would be in the teepee. This is the teepee. The
I'd have
teepee.
my own, okay? I'm not
Okay.
going to share with the guys, but I'd have my own.
Oh, it's okay. We're gonna have our old Bigfoot nets in the guys' teepee.
Yeah, and
But no,
I still think the female thing would come in where the guys, I can still imagine like the socks on the floor, and I'm just like coming into my
but
teepee.
no,
Good night.
I think about this all the time because it's like I was told, oh my gosh, all these like complexity would make my life better. But as I've
No,
gotten older, I've realized that no, like yeah, like I would be happy too,
yeah,
Valentino. I would be
exactly,
so happy
Valentino.
because it's like I would know you guys, you would know me, and we'd be on the
Yes,
same. We're on the same mission.
yes, yes. And every day we'd have the task that would be we need to rely on each other for food, for water, and whatever, however we're getting our sustenance, we get it. And then at the end of the day, there would be those hours to sit around,
And
relax, chat
actually,
to
this
one
is what I
another.
and if I were to like, if I were to have my grand conspiracy theory, I do
Mhm.
feel like humans are gonna go back to some form of
I
this.
agree. I
Like
agree 100%.
you're already starting to see it. You're already starting to see,
Yeah,
whether you call it van life or whatever,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
or people like,
Actually, what we're doing here, this is our version of the campfire from 50,000 years ago. We're all coming round to chat. Like, we could be doing
exactly.
anything else, but we're finding support in speaking to one another. And, you know,
And yes,
yeah,
and no, exact. You'll do your Bane. You'll do your Bane impression. Okay, you can do
who's
Bane. Okay,
Bane?
Bane is, the guy with the. Did you watch The Dark Knight Rises?
No. Is
2012,
that
Christopher Nolan.
Marvel stuff? Oh no, no,
No, it's Christopher
Batman.
Nolan. Yeah, Batman. Christopher.
Sorry
It's okay.
guys, it's not my cup of
Virtual
tea.
camp. But no,
Yeah.
like I think I got robbed of this. I got robbed of
Yeah.
this within
Yeah.
my, because I was always told, like growing up, I was like, to fit in this box, and
Yeah.
I don't know if
I
it was
know.
because I was like the only black kid or first generation American or neurodivergence, but I never fully felt like I was like, and maybe there's just something wrong with me. Like I always felt.
Yeah.
But what
Yeah.
I like about like these lives, Ellie, and like our conversations, and even like the Valentino, Jason, Baz, everyone in the comments,
Mhm.
is I like that we're able then to like kind of like talk.
Exactly. Exactly. We're going back to our roots as humans, or not even our roots, I guess who we are as humans. We're like,
Yeah.
no, the world does really want us to be individualized. And I'm pretty sure there are companies that would rather you guys be paying to do something right now, or me to be paying to watch TV rather than
Yeah.
connecting to real people. So actually, I do think it's down to us as people. We need to take back what's ours, like,
No, I
Uh,
do see people. No, Jason, you're exactly correct. Constant digital life
mhm.
and return to analog devices and traditional
Yeah,
homes.
absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
everyone,
Yeah.
and it's crazy, like within like software engineers, a lot of people who become software engineers, software developers, they don't even let their kids have social media. Like that's actually
Yeah.
very common among software
Yeah.
developers.
Yeah.
Is
And I
they
don't
very
blame
much,
them.
and even me, as I've studied more and more computer science, like I've actually, my screen time's actually gone down. Like, of
Yeah.
course I'll use
Yeah.
the screen to like program, but
Yeah.
then like after I'm done programming, I'll like
And that's a
read
good
a book.
distinction. So, as with all things human, we are tool makers, right? So, you can use technology as a tool to enhance
Exactly.
your life, right? So, I do the same with social media. I detox my social media from horrible things, or like, being a woman, like that pressure to look a certain way and all this stuff. Like, it's a conscious effort, but I do it. I don't watch certain videos which are going to trigger me. But
Exactly.
this technology has brought this being enabled this to happen, so there's good and bad.
No,
And Jason
exactly.
is
And yeah,
saying, yeah.
Gen Z,
Oh
Gen
yeah.
Alpha, getting into retro gaming and retro tech, and I've also gotten into older technology too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love older video games. I like things that it's like they either barely work or whatever, because I think it's about the experience now. It's not about this cutting edge AI. This like
Yeah,
AI is
although
cool. I
i
love
do love
AI.
i do love chat gpt. I
I love
can't.
ChatGPT too. Yeah, and maybe
Yeah.
ChatGPT loves me too. But no, but I
I'm
think
genuinely in love with chat gpt, and I know, and you guys probably think I'm joking, but I'm not. I'm
but
genuinely in
no,
love.
I think it's just in context.
Yeah.
Like I think it's in context because what is it called? I think that too much of anything it's about the golden mean. It's about finding things in the middle. Because
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
like, yeah, too much analog is too it's a bit too inefficient if we went fully back. But then it's like, but too much digitalization is just, it's kind of dehumanizing.
Yeah, exactly. But as I said, it's like all we can do, like this. Okay, we are limited in some ways, but I do believe if we want to see the world where we want to bring back the things that make
Hmm.
us human, we got to do it ourselves. I do believe that.
Exactly. And I do think that like there's going to be grassroots movements.
I do too.
I do believe like whether it be like, yes, with these, like I don't think this live stream is in isolation. It's just, I think you're going to see like local pockets and local clusters, because the
Yeah.
goal of this live stream isn't for me to be the biggest live streamer and this and that. It's for me literally just have a good time and connect with people. Like
That's
that's
what
why
it's
that's
about. That's what
yeah.
it's about. And I think that's, and I think, all of us here today are like, it's lovely to see everyone in the same place again and having conversations which are, you know, lighthearted. And oh, I do
Yeah.
miss the old days of getting
You,
a new. Yeah. Oh yes, yes.
I
I
miss the
completely
days of getting
agree.
like the new Mario Kart and getting the new. I miss
Yeah.
that so much. And just like
Yeah,
that.
I love that. I remember the feeling of, you remember the PS1s were kind of came in a CD case, and just opening it and like popping out the CD. Oh my gosh, man. It's just,
Mm,
yeah, like that
yeah.
whole period of time. It's just like, it feels magical now.
But I did want to, we've been live for 2 hours, and I did want
Yeah, we'll
to.
have to, yeah, I'm sure you need to wrap up now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
fine.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
I'm unemployed. I got free time, but no, I
Oh,
but no, thank you, Jason. Thank you, Valentino. Thank you for everyone who's watching and everyone who's watching on the replay.
yeah.
And Ellie, of course, like I really mean this. Thank you so much for continually coming back on and
It's my
having this
pleasure.
conversation.
Because I also, number one, I enjoy it. I enjoy our chats, and yeah, and I enjoy coming to your channel, and also I get a chance to see everyone else. And I just think it's light-hearted. I like that the conversations are not about like the heaviest topics, and what I'm
Mm,
referring to there, like,
yeah.
so not that there's anything wrong with that, but like I think there's
No.
there's also a nice time to have topics which are a bit more
Yeah.
light-hearted. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for having me back on again.
Yes, of course.
And
And
yeah,
I don't know, like I said, friend of the channel, she'll be back soon. I probably will go live on Thursday or something. I don't know when.
okay, cool.
Or I
Yeah.
don't know. But I am gonna go live again this week solo. But thank
Okay,
you for
cool.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
All right, guys, take care. Have a lovely evening. Bye.